sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
We are back in the city of Cleveland. Interleague baseball continues tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin. It's the Brew Crew and the Cleveland Indians, and we've had some weather all day. It's been a little bit rainy, a little bit overcast. Hopefully, we'll have baseball today. A lot of Brewers fans in the ballpark, traveling with the crew, hoping to see a little American League-style baseball tonight. Hi, everybody. We welcome you. Game 2 of the series with the Indians. It's the final interleague game of the season for Milwaukee, trying to split the season series against the Indians. And, Rock, let's get into Jonathan Lucroy a little bit because he started to find his stroke. He started to find the power stroke, and it was impressive last night what he did. He's hit home runs in his last 2 games.
It's been a grind all season for Jonathan Lucroy. Just can't put it together. Once when you think he's starting to snap out of it, he'll go back into kind of a little bit of a funk. But he's hitting a lot of bad luck this year. I mean, his average really doesn't indicate how he's been swinging the bat for the most part this year, but the hits are starting to fall. And when Jonathan Lucroy gets on a roll, this is what he can do. I mean, a lot of hanging, breaking balls. He's starting to really drive the baseball very well. He's playing just about every day. Martin Maldonado can't find a start because Lucroy just wants to continue to stay in the lineup. If he continues to swing the bat like that, he will.
Well, those 3 home runs have come in his last 8 at-bats. 3 homers in the last 2 games. Jimmy Nelson on the mound here tonight. He won the first game of this road trip. He's trying to get the Brewers back to winning ways. Telly Hughes with more on Big Jim right after this.
Include interleague quality play as Jimmy Nelson goes for his second win of the road trip. Good evening, everyone, from Progressive Field. I'm Telly Hughes. Jimmy Nelson has found the formula to right all of his pre-All-Star break wrongs, going from a 4.64 ERA in his first 14 starts to 2.39 over his last 11. Nelson's 2.15 earned run average since the break ranks him fourth among National League starters while posting a 4-0 record. Jimmy explains how he's been able to stay on a roll.
Just executing my game plan better, able to get ahead of guys for the most part a little better, and mix up my sequences. And when I can throw both my breaking balls, my curveball, my slider for a strike, and when those are both working, and then the four seam and two seam, it's pretty nice. And then if one of those isn't working, then I can go to the changeup. So it's always nice to have that that fourth pitch, and it's been definitely helping me.
Nelson will look to help the Crew pick up a series split against the Indians. First pitch is coming your way after the break. B.A. and Rock will have the call from Cleveland next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers. It's Miller time. Progressive Field, Cleveland, Ohio, downtown Cleveland, and on a 63-degree night, ready for the final game of this series. Just a two-gamer between the Indians and the Brewers. Game 4 of the season series between these two. Craig Counsell had one of his greatest triumphs here in Cleveland, 1997 World Series, when the Marlins matched up against the Indians, and a series won by Counsell's Marlins, of course. Here is Craig's lineup tonight. He's got Scooter Gennett leading off, Jonathan Lucroy, then Ryan Braun. Braun back in there as the designated hitter. Adam Lynn, Chris Davis, Domingo Santana in the middle of the order, with ELIAN, HERRERA, Gene Segura, and Logan Schaefer getting a start in center field tonight and batting ninth.
And Cody Anderson getting a start, just coming off the disabled list. Anderson had an oblique issue. He started the year in the minor leagues. He made 13 starts combined between AA and AAA. Made his first start of the year with the Indians back on June 21st, making his second start this year against Milwaukee. Got a no decision back at Miller Park, and then Indians 7-5 win.
24-year-old right-hander, and here's his defense behind him. Rock, brought to you by Menards. Michael Brantley had a big game yesterday with a couple of homers. Abraham Almonte, Lonnie Chisenhall in the outfield. Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, and Jerry Sands around the infield. Sands getting the start tonight, and Yan Gomes behind the plate. And there are the umpires. Tim Welke will call the balls and strikes. He's also the crew chief. Chris Segal, Mike Everett, Tim Timmons join him on the base paths. So all the pieces are in place, and we're ready for baseball tonight from Cleveland. And just a slight annoying drizzle coming down right now in downtown Cleveland. It's been that way most of the day. We saw a little bit of sunshine earlier in the day, but they had the tarp on the field before the game. And right as we get started, a little bit of a mist begins to fall. First pitch of the ball game is swung on, fouled away, and away we go. Scooter Gennett back in the leadoff spot tonight. Coming in batting .257 with 6 home runs and 24 driven in. Took the collar last night. The Brewers lost last night's game, made a bit of a comeback late in the game. But the Indians had some tack-on runs late, and Cleveland, with a very impressive offensive showing yesterday, won the opener of this series. Final score of 11-6. Michael Brantley with 2 two-run home runs last night. Little half swing, and Gennett goes. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Indians starting to swing the bats a little bit, scoring some runs. You got to really keep an eye on Kipnis and Brantley. Those are the 2 guys that hurt the Brewers last night.
Kipnis with a couple of doubles last night, had 3 hits, on base 4 times. The 1-2 is low. Cleveland has found their offense here at Progressive Field. They have not been a very good home team this season, but Francona's club, over their last 8 games here in their home ballpark, they've scored 70 runs in the last 8 games and a 6-2 record. The 2-2 and a changeup got him. A strikeout for Cody Anderson to get his night started.
Yeah, Anderson, a big dude, 6'4", 235 pounds, only 24 years old, and really doesn't throw that hard. Tops out at about 93, has good movement on his fastball, just got Scooter on a good changeup.
One gone for Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy had a terrific night at the plate last night. Good to see him swinging the bat. Finally starting to collect some extra base hits. And Lucroy, with 3 hits last night, hit 2 home runs, both of them on 2 strike pitches. And his Powerball home run count now at 7.
And both of them on hanging sliders right down the middle of the plate. Lucroy's starting to center on some pitches, getting it on the sweet spot.
First ball swinging, fly ball to right. Chisenhall is there, and there is out number 2.
Lucroy's got that batting average up near 250. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been a struggle for him all year.
And here's Ryan Braun with 2 away. Well, we talked about Braun on our pregame show today and the kind of year he's put together. He had a home run last night as well, opposite field home run. Now 23 home runs, 75 runs batted in for Ryan Braun, and an OPS about 845 coming into play here tonight. Those are good numbers for Braun, and he's been exceptional over his last 7 games, hitting for average. He's got a couple of home runs in that stretch as well.
And doing most of his damage in center and into right center field. It's starting to come down a little bit harder right now. Can't rain tonight, can it?
You wouldn't think so. It's just going to be one of those annoying rain evenings, I think. Doesn't have the feel like a big thunderstorm that, and we've been wrong before, but it doesn't have that feel.
Is that what you know, or is that what you?
That's just kind of what I feel. It's what my left elbow specifically is telling me that we're not
right.
we're not in a tarp situation. We're just in an annoying rain as Braun shoots one foul into the stands. Let's hope not. The Brewers are on a getaway day today. They're headed back to Milwaukee after the game tonight, and then an off day tomorrow. The Reds are coming in Friday. 3-game weekend series with Cincinnati. Brewers are actually slightly ahead of the Reds in the National League Central. They have one more win.
As far as winning percentage goes.
Now, there's no prize for not being last place, but if you can, get out of there. Greg Counsell wants to win as many games as he can, and the Brewers were able to jump out of last place in the division for the first time all year with that win on Friday against the Nationals. However, the Brewers have not won since. 3 straight losses.
They've been giving up a lot of runs in those 3 losses. Starting pitching has been very inconsistent on this road trip.
Full count to Braun, and a swing and a foul. Now the Brewers need a good long start tonight from Jimmy Nelson. They're not feeling the effects necessarily with fatigue in the bullpen because of all the off days, but a ton of earned runs allowed during this stretch. Having a hard time finding a starting pitcher that can turn in a quality start, which is at least 6 innings and 3 or fewer runs. As Braun takes ball 4, it's a 2-out walk.
There's good patience. That one didn't miss by much. Fastball up and away. Braun takes it.
And that'll bring up Adam Lind now with a runner at first and 2 outs. Now the Brewers have not had a quality start since August 16th. And here we are 10 days later.
The longest start for the Brewers in this road trip was by Jimmy Nelson on Friday at Washington. And it was only 5 1/3.
Lind takes a strike. Adam with 17 home runs this year. Comes in with a slugging percentage of .471. He's on base 36% of the time. And a ground ball right back to the mound. Anderson's got it. And that will retire the Brewers in the first. Off and running on a rainy night downtown Cleveland. Jimmy Nelson gets the ball when we come back. That thing in. It's not gonna bother you. A little bit of rain falling on Terry Francona and the Indians. Now in his 3rd year, took this Indians club to the wild card game in his first season, and without a rally, they are going to miss in back-to-back years. Here is Francona's lineup. Jason Kipnis, the American League's leading hitter. He's followed by Lindor, then Bradley, You got Santana, Chisenhall, and Gomes in the middle with Almonte, Jerry Sands, and Jose Ramirez rounding it out. Jimmy Nelson on the mound for the Brew Crew. He has been the biggest winner, the most consistent, especially since the All-Star break.
Yeah, no kidding. His last 11 starts, he's 7-1 and a .239 earned run average. The last time Jimmy lost a game was way back on July 10th. He's been terrific, including his last time out against the Nationals.
Big, strong right-hander at 6'6". Out of the University of Alabama, facing Jason Kipnis, and his first fastball is in there for a strike. Nelson, since the All-Star break, this will be his 8th start. In his previous 7 starts, he is 4-0 with an ERA of 2.15.
He's starting to mix in all 4 of his pitches. He talked to us about a changeup, and he's getting a little bit more confident in. There's that curveball.
That pitch has really been the difference maker for him, that curveball, which he broke out this offseason, worked on it. It felt natural to him, so he started to throw it during spring training, and he threw it for strikes, and he's brought it into his arsenal this year. As Kipnis rolls one foul, that just missed the bag. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Hard to fool Jason Kipnis. That guy's been on everything all season long. We saw that last night. Tough out, to say the least.
Kipnis, especially at home, has been great this year. He's the leading hitter in the American League right now with his 3 hits last night. Jumped to the top all by himself. He was tied with Prince Fielder. So his overall batting average is .324. Michael Brantley right behind him at .320. Kipnis at home has 3 hit games in his last 4 home games. He's hitting over .380 as Nelson strikes him out. He went back to the fastball, and Kipnis is gone, out number 1.
Now let's check out Menard's Brewers defense. One change from last night. Logan Schaefer gets a start in center field. No Shane Peterson tonight. Davis in left, Santana in right. You got Herrera, Segura, GENNETT, and Lind in the infield. And Jonathan Lucroy once again behind home plate. A little shaky defensively with the Brewers early in last night's game, but kind of tightened it up a bit as the game went on.
Yeah, a couple of unearned runs against Willie Peralta, who lasted just 2 2/3 last night. Well, here is Lindor, talented young shortstop, 21 years of age, a switch hitter, and he boasts a .306 batting average in the big leagues in his first season. Plays an excellent shortstop. Indians fans know they are looking at the future at that position and what they hope will be many years.
Pretty good eye at the plate. He hits the ball where it's pitched. And he's on a roll right now. 10 for his last 16, including a couple of home runs. Doesn't look like a guy that would hit many homers, but yeah, you make a mistake on him up in his zone, drive one out of here.
Well, Lindor's been very consistent from either side of the plate as well. His batting average is a left-handed hitter, .305. He's at .307 as a right-handed batter. All but 1 of his home runs have come as a left-handed hitter. Of the 7 he's hit, 6 of them. And he draws the walk, so Lindor is aboard. And you never want to put a man on in front of Kipnis or Brantley. That's what got the Brewers in trouble last night. Brantley was the star last night. Even with 3 hits from Jason Kipnis, it was Brantley with 2 two-run home runs in last night's game. 4 runs batted in for Michael Brantley.
And he handles left-handed pitching pretty well. Yeah, hit a home run early in the ball game and a long at bat, fouled off a number of pitches, and that was against Kyle Loesch.
That was in the 4th inning, and then his second home run of the night was a put-away home run for the Indians, which came in the 8th off Will Smith. Prior to that home run, in the top of the 8th inning, the Brewers had scored 2 runs to make it a 3-run deficit, and they kind of plowed their way back into the game a little bit.
Look at those numbers, huh? 8 for 12.
And 8 runs batted in just 3 games played against Milwaukee, the team that brought him up through the minor leagues, developed him, and traded him to the Indians in the CC Sabathia deal.
8 for 12, 3 home runs, on base percentage. Look at those numbers. Kid can hit. He's second in the league in batting average.
And he's the American League leader in doubles. Slaps that one left field line. That is just foul. Now you look at Brantley's transaction to get him to Cleveland. He was officially the player to be named later. You say, how could a guy as a player to be named later end up being this good, being an MVP candidate, not this year but last year, and certainly an all-star worthy player? Well, you got to remember the caliber of player that the Indians were going to get as that 4th player all depended on the success of CC Sabathia. And we all know in Milwaukee what kind of success CC Sabathia had in 2008. And so that afforded the Indians the opportunity to pick Brantley. That pitch is in the dirt. Lindor steals second base.
And I'm not sure how it didn't hit Brantley in the foot. He was able to hop out of the way. Lucroy not able to keep it close. Would have been a stolen base anyway. Running on the pitch. Boy, that pitch not even close. I mean, way in front of the plate. Brantley able to get out of the way, but Lindor has to stay at second base.
So another steal. Brewers starting pitchers especially not doing a very good job holding runners. And there are a ton of stolen bases against both Brewer catchers this year. Lucroy and Maldonado both throw the ball well. So a scoring chance early for the Indians. Runner at second with 1 out. Big numbers over a pretty good stretch of games. His last 13, 421 average. Hit 2 of those 3 home runs last night.
A guy that hardly ever strikes out. Toughest in the American League to punch out. 1 strikeout almost every 12 at bats. Tough out, just like Kipnis.
Well, and for a guy that hits some home runs and drives in a lot of runs, that is an impressive stat. You think about guys who are tough to strike out, you think a lot of early count swingers, which Brantley is not. And you think about, scrappy players, leadoff type hitters, guys that are just trying to punch the ball and put the ball in play. And
right.
Brantley's not that either. He can be, but he's a run producer. 72 RBIs this year, leads the Indians.
I saw Jimmy go after Brantley on a 3-1 count on a curveball, meaning that really didn't mind if he walked him because you're not going to give him a fastball down the middle. A lot of respect the Brewers have for this guy, and why wouldn't you? He's 8 for 12.
Well, you think about the top of 3 in their order, who combined to go 9 for 12 last night. You got Kipnis, who leads the league in hitting. You have Lindor, who leads American League rookies in batting average. And then Brantley, who's second in the league in hitting. That is a tough start for any pitcher facing these 3 hitters. It's one of the reasons you have to control the bottom of this lineup.
Right. And the guy on deck leads the American League in walks, so he's patient at the plate.
Carlos Santana. 3-2 pitch, and Brantley takes a ball 4, and back-to-back walks by Nelson.
Yeah, didn't want to give Brantley anything good to hit once Lindor stole second base. Put him on and go after the rest of these guys. I don't blame him. Set up the double play.
Well, here is the guy to do it. Nelson is a power sinker pitcher, and he's got a guy who leads his club in double plays grounded into, and Carlos Santana, 17 double plays grounded into this year. Batting average lower than he hopes or would hope for, but good power numbers. 15 homers, 61 driven in for Santana. Had a double and an RBI in the first inning yesterday. And another one in the dirt. That's a heck of a play by Lucroy to keep runners at first and second.
Boy, how far in front of the plate can you block one? That's about as far in front of home plate as you'll see a catcher be able to block. Check this out, curveball. That had to be 2.5 feet in front of the plate.
I think that one shook him up a little bit. He went out to, impressive how he raises his body to keep a chest protector in front of that pitch.
And square it up. My goodness.
Went out to talk to Jimmy Nelson, I think, just to give himself a minute. It's tough to play, Rock, when you got base runners. It feels like in every inning. If you're a defender, if you're a hitter for the Brewers right now, you're during this stretch, you're constantly feeling like you're in damage control. And there's a shot right to GENNETT on the shift. He flips it over to SEOURA. The return feed in time. So the defensive shift pays off. Santana hit it like a bullet, but a beautifully turned double play. That goes 4-6-3 to get Nelson out of the inning. That's more like it. Good defense to start this game for the Brew Crew. In Cleveland, Ohio, just a little cell, Rock. There's a window coming. Ponchos are out. That always provides great fodder. Everybody seems to be operating the ponchos well thus far, though. And we are playing on here in Cleveland. We go to the second inning. Chris Davis leads off against Cody Anderson.
So you're still saying this is just a clear-up storm, right?
It's a clear-up storm, and then we're going to have a nice night. Have a nice 60-degree night in downtown Cleveland. Seems to be picking up a little moisture coming across Lake Erie at this point.
Yeah, does that, doesn't it?
Yes.
Lake effect.
Lake effect rain here in August. Now Davis leading off for the Brewers, be followed by Santana, then Herrera. Second time around against Cody Anderson this year. He got a start against the Brewers earlier this season. It did not go well for him. Had an injury to deal with as well, and an oblique injury. As Davis sends one deep into left field. That is way back. Goodbye. Home run, Chris Davis. And his power surge continues. That's number 17 for Davis, and the Brewers lead 1-0.
And none of them are cheap, are they? I mean, he hits them. When he hits them, they stay hit. That one way up there in the bleachers and left. On a 2-1 pitch. I mentioned that Anderson doesn't throw very hard. Here it is. Fastball up and in, and Davis able to get on top of it, get extension. That's a nice, easy swing for Chris, and gives the Brewers a 1-0 lead. There you go.
Davis has 3 home runs on the road trip. Only has 4 hits on the road trip, but 3 of them have been homers.
Making them count.
What an August he is having. Home runs and RBIs. Domingo Santana fouls one away. Chris has 10 homers now in the month of August. And now 23 runs batted in. He's making a serious run at National League Player of the Month in the month of August.
It's such a nice, easy swing, and the ball just jumps off his bat. That's something you can't teach. I mean, he just relaxed up at the plate until that ball's on its way, and very quick hands through the strike zone.
1-2 to Domingo Santana. Back in the starting lineup tonight. He had a home run last night, his second as a Brewer. Making his 4th start. Came over in the Gomez Fires trade. And he's the first of the 4 prospects to arrive in the big leagues.
That home run to right. Didn't even get good extension on it. That's how strong he is.
Brewers called him up from AAA Colorado Springs. He played 20 games down there after the trade. Hit .380 with a couple of homers and 18 RBIs. Started the year with the Astros AAA club, Fresno. Hit .320 there with 16 home runs and 59 runs batted in. And then he had a little time with the big league Astros this season. Made his major league debut last year with Houston. Yeah, swing and a miss. A changeup got him. So the 2 strikeouts for Anderson have come on changeups.
He's got a good one. You can see the grip in the glove, and that pitch, it never gets there. It's the same rotation as the fastball, but just chokes off the velocity, and he gets another punch out.
That'll bring up ELIAN Herrera now with 1 away. Back in the lineup, playing third base tonight. Herrera hitting .237 now. ELIAN had a hit last night. 1 out of 3 in last night's game. Scored a run.
And he's been in the lineup a lot. I mean, right-handers is over at third base. And there's a left-hander starting against Milwaukee. He's over at second in place of GENNETT. Switch hitter that's been getting his hits. Playing pretty well in the field.
Anderson's got him down 0-2. The Brewers starting to find their power stroke once again. At 4 home runs last night. Normally when the Brewers hit home runs they win. But, the Brewers have been fighting their way out of early holes here recently.
Yeah, not when you give up 11 runs. You're going to win many games giving up 11.
Brewers scored 6 last night on 7 hits. And there's a swing and a miss. That changeup's going good right now for Anderson. That's his 3rd strikeout. All 3 coming on that pitch.
Hitting 8 for Milwaukee, number 9.
Hey, today's time of the game winner, Club Forest Bar in Plover, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to an April or May 2016 Brewers game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
We welcome all of our friends watching the game tonight in the comfort of the bar.
Nice and dry. At least we think.
Physically dry on the outside.
Right.
Gene Segura at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Brewers shortstop comes in batting .260. Has 4 homers, 36 driven in for Segura. Plate discipline is the next step for Segura. I'd like to see him walk a little more. Counsell would love to use him as a leadoff hitter. That's probably where he's best suited with his skill set, but he doesn't quite get on base enough to be a regular leadoff hitter. His on base percentage this year is at .285. That's a low number, especially when you're hitting .260.
It's been somewhat of a struggle for Segura, but you know, you look up, he's hitting .260. I think the Brewers would take that. But he needs to walk a little bit more, as you mentioned. You get that on base percentage, you know, in the .330 range. I think the Brewers would be happy with that.
Segura has just 10 walks all season. Playing in game number 109 this year, has over 400 at bats. But he's still a young player, even though he's been with the Brewers now in his third season. Third full season. A Tapper foul.
And 10 walks in 447 plate appearances.
Came to the Brewers from the Angels. He was in the Zach Greinke deal. And the Brewers brought him up at the end of the 12th season. And then 13 had a great first half. So much so he made the All-Star team that year. And his name was in that ring of talented shortstops, great defenders, and on the offensive side of the ball as well. Guys like Anderson Simmons. But Segura tailed off in the second half of 2013. Had a down year last year. Has come back a little bit this year, but doesn't hit for much power.
He's still a good defender. He's got 15 errors this year. He goes in stretches where, you know, he'll make a few errors in a row, and then they'll clean it up very quickly. He's a plus defender over there at short for sure.
Yeah, no question. Came up as a second baseman in the Angels system. They moved him to shortstop prior to that 2012 season. 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Down he goes, a strikeout to end it. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Anderson, but not before. Chris Davis launches one out of here to start the inning. And the Brewers lead 1-0 in the rain in Cleveland.
The nickname up when you hit like 12 home runs like 3 years ago, like early on in the season, never hit another one again. Oh, I would have guessed.
1-0 Brewers lead the Indians. Chris Davis with a home run in the top of this second inning. And Milwaukee on the board. Davis with number 17 on the year. So Nelson pitching with a lead, fires a strike in on Lonnie Chisenhall. Leading off this second inning, batting fifth in this lineup. And look out, fair bat in the hole.
Little hammer throw out there in track and field.
It's one of the more impressive bat throws I've seen. He kept it fair. He kept it in the hole between first and second. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Good distance out of that.
I think a little pine tar now.
Just a steady rain here in Cleveland. And so far, the tarp crew, the grounds crew, they are out of our sight, which tells you everybody feels like this is just a passing light shower. But you start to see those guys line up over there, and then you know there's more activity coming.
Well, the good thing is, as we always say, that tarp is covered. Yeah, they got the tarp cover on it, which means the ground crew doesn't think they're going to have to spring into action anytime soon. You with me?
I'm with you. I totally understand the process.
I'm just hoping.
And I'm watching it as well as Nelson strikes out Chisenhall. So a good start to the second inning. Second strikeout for Jimmy Nelson. And that'll bring up Yan Gomes, the Cleveland catcher.
Yeah, finally a right-handed hitter for Jimmy Nelson. There's going to be 6 left-handed hitters in the lineup for Cleveland. 3 straight lefties and 3 switch hitters.
Been a down year for Gomes this year. His catching and his ability at the plate took Santana away from the position. Santana mostly just a first baseman now. Gomes had over 20 homers last year, had over 70 runs batted in. Great production from the backstop. Hit 21 homers, 74 RBIs last season. Rolls this one to short. And Segura. Lynn gets the tag down. That wet baseball. Segura let it fly a little bit. But a good play by Lynn to make the catch of the tag with the runner going by.
Yeah, I guess if Gomes slides, he's going to be safe. The only time really you want to slide into first base is when the throw pulls the first baseman off the bag. A little jam shot by Gomes, and yeah, the ball gets through the grass, a little bit wet, and Lynn with a good tag to get the out.
You could see Segura very deliberate, cutting that ball in his hand, and good play by Lind.
Got to grip it tightly. Make sure you have a good grip and follow through with your release when you're throwing a wet baseball.
Two up, 2 down for Jimmy Nelson. Here's Abraham Almonte, one of the 4 switch hitters in the lineup tonight for the Indians, and he rips one into right center for a base hit. First hit of the night for the Indians. Clean single to right center, and the speedy Almonte is aboard. Standing there with Sandy Alomar Jr., first base coach. A great Indian from their run in the 90s. Nelson walked 2 in the first inning, got a 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Santana to end the inning. Not the first hit. Here's Jerry Sands. Saw him as a pinch hitter last night, but this is his first start. And he's up there hacking, chasing a breaking ball, first pitch.
Santana playing first base last night. He's the designated hitter tonight. That put Sands in the starting lineup.
Sands has spent most of the year down in AAA. Their AAA affiliate is in Columbus. Not too far from here. Makes that an easy commute. And Sands knows it well. .287 hitter in AAA this year. Indians made a trade with Atlanta. They traded Swisher and Michael Bourne, and that opened the door for a roster spot for Jerry Sands. His third stint with the Indians. Came up in April, got sent back down in late April, then once again late May, and then he came up at the trade deadline, and he's been here ever since.
Got to keep Almonte close. He can run. Indians feel as though they can run on the Brewers, getting good jumps off the pitching.
And there he goes. And a little half swing, and the throw to second. One hops. Safe is the call. Almonte steals his second as an Indian. He's got a lot of speed potential, stolen base potential. They like Almonte.
That's only his second stolen base of the season. He's only played now in 18 games, but 2 outs and a man at first. Now he's in scoring position.
Indians got him from the Padres at the trade deadline. He was in a deal for Mark Zepchinski, left-handed reliever who went to San Diego. Runner at second, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 men are out. And that one just missed. Nelson was ready to go to the dugout. I think the entire Brewer defense was headed to the dugout. Close pitch.
Yep, everybody but Tim Welke thought it was a strike.
That'll even the count at 2-2. Now it's full. Nelson facing Jerry Sands, making just his 4th start at first base on the season, and he lays off. Nelson stuck with the breaking ball that time, and he lost him. That's the 3rd walk issued by Jimmy Nelson.
He got ahead of him quickly, 1 and 2, and just couldn't get him to bite on those breaking pitches out of the strike zone. So good patience by Sands, bringing up the number 9 hitter. 3 walks already for Jimmy. You know, it was pitch count that got him last time out against the Nationals. 102 pitches, and he only went 5 1/3.
Did get the win against Washington in those 5 1/3. Brewers won that game by a final of 10-3. Really pouring it on late. That was the game Kyle Loesch came on and pitched the final 3 innings to earn a save. But Nelson could not get through the 6th. There's Loesch, who pitched last night, struggled last night in 2 2/3 innings. Well, Jimmy's fallen behind the 9-hole hitter, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, this is the guy you want. I mean, that's an understatement when you got Jason Kipnis on deck. Falling behind him 2-0. You got to throw him a strike here.
Two on with 2 away. A single and a walk. And a stolen base. And that's ball 3. Well, they say hitting is contagious. So is pitching on both sides of that fence. Feels like the starters every night are in a full-on grind in most innings. A lot of base runners. 3-0 is in there. And you certainly want to get through it without allowing any runs, but it does affect the way this game is going to continue for Jimmy Nelson. Already 38 pitches. We're only in the 2nd inning. Hitters count. Here it comes. And it's ball 4. Jimmy Nelson walks the 9th place hitter Ramirez, and we'll have to face Jason Kipnis now with the bases loaded, and it's another early trip to the mound for Rick Kranitz.
Yeah, we saw the inconsistency in the release point and command for Willie Peralta last night. A lot of pitches for Willie, wasn't throwing very hard, getting behind in the count. And Jimmy Nelson doing the same, already 4 walks. Not a night that you want to be standing out there on the mound very long with all the rain.
Yeah, and the same goes for his defenders as well. Position players out there. The Brewers were very shaky defensively yesterday. Have made a nice play tonight. GENNETT to SEOURA to turn a double play in the first. But you leave those guys standing out there and you're asking for it. So here is Jason Kipnis now with the bases loaded, 2 away. Nelson had 2 outs and 2 strikes on a hitter with nobody on. And a good curveball in there for a strike. He needed that one. Chris Davis with a home run in the top of this inning to start the inning. And Nelson with 2 away, trying to put away a very good hitter. Kipnis slaps one down the line, base hit. That's going to score 2. Now the ball gets by Davis. And a 3rd run is coming in. Ramirez all the way around on a double and an error. Just like that, the Indians are on top 3-1.
No, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, you walk the number 8 and 9 hitter to get to that guy, and you knew that nothing good was going to happen from that. A double on a 1-1 pitch. Not a bad pitch at that. It looked like a changeup, and Kipnis stays right on it. Just out of the reach of Herrera, and the ball gets by Davis, allowing the 3rd run to score. So give Kipnis 2 RBIs. The 3rd run scores on the error by Davis. Man, you just can't do that. You know, walk the 8 and 9 hitters to get to that guy. You're asking for trouble.
So here is LINDOR now. Brewers get a lead and give it right back. And more troubles for the starting pitchers. This has not been a good run here. LINDOR walked in the first inning. Nelson has 4 walks already. Both of the hits allowed coming in this inning. That's right back to the mound. Nelson with his bare hand knocks it down, fakes a throw, and LINDOR will reach on an infield hit.
Craig Counsell has seen this the entire road trip. Struggles with the starting rotation. Not exactly the way you want to draw it up. You don't want your pitcher grabbing a baseball, come back with his bare hand. And no chance to get LINDOR, and that brings up Michael Brantley.
Nelson misses badly. Rain's coming down. You see all the players wiping the rain off the bill and off Jimmy wiping off his arm and his wrist.
A minute ago it almost stopped and then picked up again.
Tarp still has the cover on it,
which is a good sign.
1 ball, no strikes to Bradley. Check on LINDOR.
They know he wants to run.
This is the 8th hitter of the inning. Nelson had 2 outs and nobody on, and a 1-2 count on the third hitter of the inning. There he goes, and a strike, and Lucroy doesn't even bother. Lindor got a great jump. Second stolen base of the inning. Third of the game already as we play in the second inning. These Brewer pitchers are giving Lucroy zero chance to throw out runners.
No, and that's why, you know what happens, you know what you do when they're getting jumps like that, you don't even bother throwing. That's what Ted Simmons used to do. He didn't get out of the crowd, just flipped the ball back to the pitcher, didn't even bother. Speaks volumes.
Yeah, Brantley on the ground. Lynn's way over there. Brantley falls down at home plate. That will end the inning, but damage done. So the Indians plate 3. 2 RBI double by Jason Kipnis. Another run comes in on an error. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham, 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. Well, that last play, you see the grounds crew did a little work around home plate. Anytime your superstar falls down, that'll spring the grounds crew into action. And Michael Brantley, who slipped and fell on his way to first base on this swing. Check this out. And as he's trying to push off, he slips and down he goes. Got himself all dirty. And now the grounds crew out to try to clean it up a little bit.
Well, you know,
the skid mark.
Yeah, this umpiring crew wants to do everything they can to get this game in. Last time that the Brewers and Indians, certainly last time they see each other this year. And the last thing they want to do is put the tarp on and risk having this one get rained out. You know what that would mean?
What would that mean, Rock?
The Brewers and the Indians have tomorrow off. Need I say more?
Bite your tongue, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bite your tongue.
That's why the umpires are allowing this game to go on. I mean, if this was a game where there'd be a matchup left between these two teams, you might see the tarp be pulled, but they want to get it in. No makeups.
All right, it's no problem. A little kitty litter around the key areas, and we're back at it. To the third inning we go. Brewers now trailing 3-1. Another ugly inning for the Brewers, and it all starts on the mound. Just had too many of those innings. A lot of walks, a lot of deep counts, errors. It all goes hand in hand. Schaefer will lead the way, and he sends one into left field, right to Brantley. Hit it right on the nose, but right at Brantley for out number 1. Tough break for Logan Schaefer.
Yeah, he's been swinging about well since coming up. Hasn't always been getting base hits, but hit the ball in the nose a couple of times right at the fielder. And you talk about those innings that the starters have been allowing, even the relievers at times, 9 multi-run innings for the opponent on this road trip so far. That's a lot.
Here's GENNETT. He swings at the first pitch.
Mike Guerrero doesn't mind the rain.
Likes it. Keeps the grass green, Rock. Always makes me appreciate Miller Park even more. Not that I don't appreciate Miller Park, but you know, sometimes you lose perspective when you're on the road, and how great it is, not just for the players. Players love it, of course, but makes it comfortable for the fans.
It always comes up when it's raining on the road.
It does. Certainly does. GENNETT fouls that one away, especially on a getaway day.
Right.
I mean, the Indians have actually played. They've actually used Miller Park when their ballpark was unavailable due to weather. Remember that a few years ago? What was that, back in 2009, I think it was?
Yeah, against the Angels.
Maybe that was 07, actually.
It was snowing here in Cleveland.
Sure was. First homestand of the year. GENNETT pops this one up, and that is the shortstop LINDOR who makes a call and the catch, and 2 men are out.
They don't miss the season's final Free Shirt Friday as the Brewers and the Reds hook up at Miller Park this Friday at 7 o'clock. All fans in attendance will get a free Brewers t-shirt courtesy of a Rise Health Plan. Reserve your spot today by calling 902-4000 or going to brewers.com.
So the Brewers will have the Reds and the Pirates on the next homestand, 6-game, 7-day homestand. There are only 5 series remaining at Miller Park the rest of the season. It's hard to believe.
I mean, live road games in September.
Brewers have just 15 games remaining at home for the rest of the season. Been home a lot in the month of August. Lucroy pops this one up. And again, it's LINDOR. That'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Cody Anderson. Brewers go in order. Bottom of the third coming from Cleveland. 3-1 Indians. Still the greatest weather invention of all time to keep you dry at a ballpark. Hey, a reminder that it's time for the annual Milwaukee Bucks golf event benefiting Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. This year's event is on Tuesday, September 22nd at River Club of Mequon. That'll be an 11 a.m. shotgun. Sign your foursome up today at foxsportswisconsin.com. can click on the upcoming events tab for details. That means everybody tees off at the same time. 11 a.m. shotgun start.
Yep. That's the only golf I like. Just let her rip. Leave it up to everybody else.
Little scramble. Well, Nelson back to work and hoping to settle things down a little bit. It's been a rough couple of innings for him. He put up a 0 in the first, but he pitched around 2 walks. Faced 8 batters in the second inning. He's already thrown 47 pitches in the first 2 innings. And Carlos Santana takes a strike. Big swing and a miss from Santana. Brewers haven't been here in Cleveland since the 2009 season. And a home-and-home matchup this year with the Indians. Brewers split that first series in Milwaukee as Nelson puts one past Santana. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And a strikeout number 3.
A couple of 2-game series between these two teams. One at Miller Park, one here. The last interleague game of the year for Milwaukee.
Always good to come back to Cleveland. Former divisional destination back when the Brewers were in the American League. Chisenhall deep to left field. Davis running out of room. That's off the top of the wall. Schaefer will play it off a bounce, and Lonnie Chisenhall with a double, a 1-out double. Hit that one hard into left center.
Well, it's not real deep out there, but you got to hit it high. And that one, would have been out of a lot of ballpark. He smokes that baseball. Not a bad pitch by Jimmy. Got down out over the plate. Chisenhall about midway up on that big high wall, and good job of backing up by Schaefer to hold him to a double.
It's been another hot hitter lately, Lonnie Chisenhall. So it's a 1-out double, and more traffic for Jimmy Nelson to navigate. Here's Yan Gomes. Well, we always enjoy coming to Cleveland. We get to see one of our good friends in the business, Wisconsin native Tom Hamilton, the terrific radio voice of the Cleveland Indians. A Waterloo, Wisconsin native. He's had a terrific career here with the Indians. Used to be partnered up with Herb Score. There's Tom.
You always feel better after a chat with Tom. Very upbeat. Loves his job. Why wouldn't you, right?
And a set of pipes that just cascades through the entire ballpark.
Yep.
Waterloo, Wisconsin. Still has a lot of family in Wisconsin, especially in the Milwaukee area. He's got over a quarter century of service time as a broadcaster here with the Indians. He's seen the good times and the bad. You know, this franchise was in the playoffs just 2 years ago. They made it to the wild card game. They had that great run in the late 90s. This place was packed every night. They had a long consecutive sellout streak. Won the pennant in 1997. They lost to the Marlins in the World Series that year. Yeah, that was the streak. 455 consecutive dates that they sold out what was then known as Jacobs Field, now called Progressive Field.
The stadium hadn't changed too much. They made a couple of adjustments, one up in the upper deck and right. And the bullpens are different.
Slow roller third base, going to be a tough play. Herrera throws a wet baseball, and it's in time to get Gomes. Good thing he had the catcher running, and he took his time with it.
It's not just throwing a wet baseball. I mean, you got to be, running on that grass, bending down gingerly. You got to make sure your feet are under you. You'll go down. You can see little stutter steps. You take short choppy steps in the wet grass and still able to make a nice throw right over the top and gets his out.
There's a good lesson in that. Make a sidearm throw or a 3/4 throw. If you don't have to, you don't want to. That ball slips out, and then the brings in the element of an error because you're going side to side. If you can get on top of it, though,
it might be high or low, but first baseman still has a shot.
Almonte shows bunt, bunts right through it. Indians have a runner at third with 2 outs. There's center fielder Abraham Almonte at the plate.
I dare say the rain has almost stopped.
I'm sure we'll see it again. And that's in the dirt. Lucroy's got it. Flip it to Nelson. Another run is in. Nelson with a wild pitch. Not even Lucroy, who's about as good as it gets blocking balls, could keep that one in front.
Yeah, I mean, you see how far Lucroy had to go to even get a piece of it. He kept it in front, but not able to keep it close enough. I mean, Jimmy's been spiking a number of these pitches down way in front of home plate, and Lucroy does the best he can, and Chisenhall able to score after getting a good jump. Good secondary lead, waiting for that ball to be in the dirt, able to score easily.
(4-1) Cleveland. 1 ball, 1 strike on Almonte. 1-2 it goes. Lucroy down to block another one.
Yeah, what makes it a little bit more difficult too is the dirt around home plate a little bit wet, and it will skip a little bit more. That one got him on the right arm. See him trying to shake it out.
Tried to get him to chase a high fastball. He would not. 3-2 the count. Run is in on a wild pitch. That's an earned run on Jimmy Nelson's line. He's given up 4 thus far. And it's looking like another short start for Craig Counsell here tonight. Just can't get a starter to go deep in a game. I'll be curious to see what the Brewers do when they get back around the rotation. They are operating at a 4-man rotation now. Tyler Cravey was the 5th man. He's on the disabled list. Brewers do have an off day tomorrow.
You get Tyler Thornburg, but I'm not sure how stretched out he is. Kyle Loesch. Maybe bring somebody up.
There's another walk. So Nelson issues a 2-out walk. That is his 5th walk of the game. And if you're going to stay in the game and you're Craig Counsell, you might have to think about going to the bullpen with another base runner, you would think. Maybe 2. There are 2 outs in the inning.
Well, you know Almonte is going to try and steal. He's already got a stolen base tonight.
Nelson usually has good command. He's now had 5 walks in this game, which matches a season high. We're only in the 3rd inning.
Well, every inning it seems like on this road trip has been an absolute grind for the pitching. A lot of base runners just about every night.
Lucroy has to leap for that baseball. He's getting a workout tonight.
He's something else. I mean, he's quick. Not many catchers are able to get that pitch.
1-0 to Jerry Sands, and a check on the runner at first.
Lucroy looking into the Brewers dugout, checking out Jerry Nairn to see if they want to pitch out.
Just checking out Craig Counsell to see if Maldonado can get loose. And that one misses. 2 balls and no strikes. 64 pitches for Jimmy Nelson. It's just not working tonight. He's trying, but it's not working. Ooh, close play over there. Take your outs where you can get them. Not a bad idea.
And Monte might have slipped a little bit, which is why it was close at first base.
Swinging a foul, 2-1. Nice catch up there in the crowd. They've squeezed back under the overhang on the second level.
These are hardy fans, you know, here in Cleveland.
Gotta be.
Remember back at the old Municipal Stadium, there's about 13 people in the seats for every game.
What they call that, the mistake by the lake?
Yeah, that was a big ballpark. The Browns played there.
3 balls and a strike.
They had John Adams there when he's the tom guy out there in left field.
And he's still banging away at that drum.
He only bangs on that drum when they have a man in scoring position.
Yeah, it's popcorn time right now. Take a break, John.
Gets a man at second base and he springs into action. He's been doing that, they say, around here for 40 years. I wonder if it's the same tom.
Looks like it.
It's good work if you can find it.
A little popcorn at the ballpark. Any way you can keep dry. Find a way. 3-2 the count. Almonte goes and a half swing. He did not go. And that'll be another walk. Sands is aboard. 2 on, 2 outs. All right, once you get that popcorn washed down, it's time.
Yeah, he's got to get all the snacks and sodas out of the way because there's a man at second base.
He's coming. He's just getting revved up. You got to wait. It's all about timing. Here we go.
Red the sticks.
All right, boys. Here we go. Ready? Let me get it. Let me get the wrist on there so I don't lose one. It's wet. All right. And cue. Well, he missed it for the first pitch. There he goes. In the air to left. Jose Ramirez out to Davis. And that will retire the side. Back in your seat. More popcorn. Somebody get him a soda. Fourth inning. Rock, did you see this last night?
I did.
Carlos Gomez, our Columbia St. Mary's, worth another look. He had a pop-up in a 9-0 game and threw the bat down. The Yankees took issue with it. Next at bat, by the way, Chris Capuano is the pitcher here, the former Brewer, and he went deep. And Gomez, who has his way, certainly has his way every day, incited a bench clearing event. There were no punches thrown. Everybody just came out to let Gomez know that they didn't appreciate it. The Yankees did.
I guess if it wasn't a 9-0 game at the time, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But you know, upset, obviously upset with himself. He's been off to a very slow start with his new team.
Had a good night last night. Yep. The Astros won last night 15-1.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's what got the Yankees a little bit upset.
And Houston won today again, by the way. Astros beat the Yankees 6-2 today, so they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. The Astros look like they are for real. Ryan Braun hits a bullet right at Kipnis. It's another line drive out. First Schaefer, now Braun.
Shaded up the middle right at Kipnis, and Ryan Braun continues to swing a hot bat. Hit this one right on the button right there. Barely has to move a couple of steps up the middle. And you see the reaction of Braun. You know, nothing to show for it.
And that'll bring up Adam Lind. And Lind takes a changeup away. Indians are going to have Anderson on a pretty strict pitch count here today. Around 75 pitches is what we were told. Coming back from the disabled list, oblique injury. There's another changeup and a ground ball booted over at first base. Sands recovers, and Lynn kind of strolling down the first base line, an easy out. Well, it is now time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag WisDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Two men are out. Braun and Lind retired. That'll bring up Chris Davis. The lone bright spot so far offensively. Anderson's only given up 2 base runners. He walked Braun in the first, and Davis took him deep to lead off the second inning. Chris Davis has 4 multi-home run games this year, and 3 of them have come in the month of August. He's got a lot of time left in this one to make it 4 in the month of August.
And a lot of mileage on every one of them. I mean, he is just not hitting them out. He is hitting some bombs out of here.
Powerball home run leaderboard. Davis now tied with Adam Lind with 17. Impressive what he's been able to do. 10 August home runs for Chris Davis.
And we've been talking about it ever since he's started this hot streak, that, you know, the consistent playing time and his hot streak, I don't think there's a coincidence there.
Well, Davis making his 75th start of the year. He missed about a month after knee surgery. Tore the meniscus on a swing. Very unusual injury. And talking to the athletic trainers for the Brewers, they said he'd never had any knee trouble at all. Never any weakness. They do a baseline test for strength. He never showed any problems with his knees. He got a spike hung up on his right foot and ended up tearing the meniscus on a swing and a strikeout. That's a pop-up foul territory. Gomes has it. And that will end the inning. The Brewers go in order. 9 in a row since the home run by Davis, retired by Cody Anderson. Hits Davis a home run in the second inning. Indians lead 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Our Carsub.com trivia question tonight: who holds the record for home runs hit during interleague play? A former Indian is a strong guess, I think, in that retired player. Well, Jimmy Nelson back to work. Let's see if he can get things turned around. It has been a battle for him tonight. He has walked 6 in this game. He's walked 2 batters in each of the first 3 innings. And he's given up 4 earned runs at this point. Indians have played pretty well against National League opponents this year. 11-8 is their interleague record. They've won 6 of 9 at home. And interesting that all of their interleague games have come against Central Division opponents. Typically the case. The Brewers line up with the Central in the American League this year. I believe next year it is the American League West. I haven't seen a schedule, but the rotation would tell you that the American League West is next up. Kipnis, little flare pop, out of play. Kipnis had the big hit in the second. Nelson got the first 2 men out in the second inning and then allowed a single, a walk, another walk to face Kipnis with the bases loaded, and he delivered with a 2 RBI double.
Yeah, that's just asking for trouble, right? The top hitter in the American League with the bases loaded, he came through.
And Kipnis is gone on strikes. Good way to start the 4th inning. Strikeout for Jimmy Nelson, number 4. He's had a strikeout in every inning. So 4 Ks and 6 walks now.
Yeah, strikeout in every inning, 2 walks in every inning so far. He needs to correct that very quickly. 73 pitches as we work here in the 4th.
Here's Francisco Lindor. Has a walk and an infield hit. And his infield hit in the second inning, the reason that 4th run was earned, even though that 4th run scored on an error, or rather the 3rd run, even though it scored on an error, it was an outfield error. The next batter got a base hit, so that made that run earned. And 4 hits, 4 earned runs allowed for Nelson. In case you're keeping the book at home, God bless you if you are. You're a dying breed.
Don't have to do that anymore at home, right? Just look on the internet. Box score pops right up for you.
So much funner to keep score, though. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
You can kind of think along with the manager, see how the game flow is going. There's a strike to Lindor. How's your scorebook coming along these days?
Everybody has their own way of scoring.
I feel like you got a smaller scorebook in the last couple of years. Is that right?
This year I shrunk it down a little bit.
As Lindor draws a walk.
That's good observation. What are we in August?
Yeah, I just noticed that. I didn't know if you had gotten bigger or if your scorebook had gotten smaller.
Both. Yeah, I did. I shrunk it down.
How do you shrink down a scorebook?
I just, you have Office Max or whoever it is. Just say I want this a little bit smaller. They do it for you.
Oh, I thought you maybe do it in the dryer or something. Runner at first for Michael Brantley. And a check on Lindor.
You know why? It was getting a little bit heavy for me in the bag. All the stuff I carry along with my scorebook.
Right. All your prep materials and all your research materials and media guides. And
the Brewers media guide, a rule book. The rule book's a lot bigger this year.
Bigger font. A lot more pages. All your cigars.
You know, sunglasses and, you know, cords, you know, power cords.
Beef jerky.
Snacks.
All the snacks you can grab from the charter flight.
Yep. Cut down on the nut during the road trip. Giving away a lot of my secrets.
It's going to be a snack night tonight. Brantley shows bunt. Lucroy has the leap again to make the play.
I have a bunch still in the bag.
Going to be in there a little bit. Going to have to get in there.
I'm not sure if they're gluten free or not.
That's okay. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And a rally snack. I knocked down a bag of animal cookies earlier. It's been a while, maybe since I was about 12. Those are still delicious.
12 years old?
It's been a long time since
Last
I
time?
I don't ever remember even seeing any animal cookies around.
I mean, you didn't have any for your daughter and you kind of shared them with her?
You know, that's possible. I'm not sure we went that route though.
That's too bad.
I thought
for
that
her.
was a thing gone by. I mean, the goldfish now. There goes Lindor. Brantley takes throw to second, and that's another stolen base. That is the 4th steal of the game.
And 3 for Lindor tonight.
And all these are pinned on Jonathan Lucroy. He's got no chance to throw out a base runner.
And the throws have been good. Can't do anything about the jump.
So the Indians doing pretty much what they want here tonight. Yep, he's starting to dial it up. Brantley in a 2-0 count, 1 man out, and that one's low, 3-0. He must have a rhythm when he starts banging on the drum. Like I feel like when the, well, maybe I was going to say when the batter gets in the box, but he's jumping in early. Look at the guy next to him.
I think he's heard that drum before.
He's like, that's good. You're in a good rhythm tonight. You're locked in the pocket.
I think he feels a little bit responsible for the Indians not scoring late in that 3rd inning. He started beating on that drum a little bit late.
I thought it was a little lackadaisical effort.
He's accountable.
Washing down the popcorn had him a little late, and then on the first pitch there was an out. I wonder what the job description for his handler is, though. I mean, is he in charge of the drum, or is he just up there for fun? That one's down and in. That'll be another walk. So 2 walks in each inning, and Craig Counsell has seen enough. So another short start for a Brewer pitcher. Nelson's going to go 3 1/3, and here comes Tyler Thornburg. Pitching change in Cleveland. The Indians threatening again. They lead 4-1. Tough day at the office for Jimmy Nelson. Light, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Well, we got a pitching change here. Jimmy Nelson is out, and another tough one for a Brewers starter here tonight. 4-1 Cleveland. A reminder that Fox Sports Live is on Fox Sports 1. You can get complete highlights and analysis of everything that happened in Major League Baseball today, plus the latest from NFL training camps and the rest of the sports world. Fox Sports Live is tonight, Fox Sports 1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Brewers bring on Tyler Thornburg, and in a familiar position here lately where a reliever is going to be asked to pick up a few innings.
Well, he's got a 180 earned run average in 6 appearances since rejoining the ball club. That's 2 runs in 10 innings. Last pitched on Sunday against the Nationals, and through 2 scoreless innings. 6 up, 6 down for Tyler. Trying to get this one back to some semblance of order for this Brewers ball club.
Certainly still in it, down 4-1. But a big spot here for Thornburg. 2 on, 1 away. Carlos Santana at the plate. He bounced into a double play in the first inning. Hit a bullet. But a good play by GENNETT to turn a 4-6-3 double play. Jimmy Nelson exits 3 1/3 innings, 8 walks, and 4 earned runs. The 8 walks is one off a franchise record for walks in a game by a pitcher. It's been done on a few occasions. Last time we saw it was Doug Davis back in 2006. He walked 9. Kokenauer had 3 of those 9 walk performances.
3?
I beg your pardon. There were 3 of them. Kokenauer was it was Kokenauer, Everett Stoll, and Doug Davis. I read that wrong.
And I'll be I'm proud to say I was witness to all 3 of them.
There you go.
That was Jaime. Was that 86?
1986. That was April of 86. Everett Stoll was April of 2000, and then Doug Davis April of 06. There's a line drive center field. Schaefer's got it, and the runners will retreat. Hit that one hard. He's hit the ball hard twice, Santana. Nothing to show for it. That's out number 2. Still 2 on with 2 away. That'll bring up Chisenhall.
Thornburg has been doing a real good job since his recall, and throwing strikes and been asked to eat up some innings. I would imagine Craig Counsell would like to see 2 or 3 innings out of Tyler tonight. Don't have to worry about pinch hitting for him with the designated hitter here in Cleveland. Got a real good changeup. Changeup's been a good pitch for him since his return.
And he starts Chisenhall with a big curveball. In there, a strike, a fastball this time. Quickly 0-2 on Chisenhall. Thornburg trying to get the Brewers to the dugout, get them to the 5th inning, down 3. You got a pitcher who is on a pretty strict pitch limit tonight in Anderson. Get into the Cleveland bullpen a little bit tonight. Inevitable with 75 pitch limit on the starter. But Anderson's been good tonight. He's retired 9 in a row. Only run he's allowed was the home run by Chris Davis in the 2nd. And he got him. Good curveball. Lucroy, I beg your pardon, he fouled it away.
Foul tip in the dirt.
Just got a piece. Chisenhall had a double and a run scored in the 3rd inning. He's been a hot hitter here lately for the Indians. Another guy that spent some time in the minor leagues this year. And a curveball is ripped into right field, a base hit. Lindor around third. And the throw from Santana is cut off. It's another run for the Indians. RBI single with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Lonnie Chisenhall makes it 5-1.
And tomahawked that one out into right field. He got a pitch up in the strike zone and stayed right on it. Curveball and upstairs, and Chisenhall waits back and lines it into right. And Lindor, who stole a base earlier this inning, comes around to score.
That run will belong to Jimmy Nelson. 5 earned runs allowed for him. Still 2 out, still 2 on. Here's Yan Gomes. Big fastball upstairs. A swing and a miss. Yan Gomes, first Brazilian-born player in Major League Baseball history. Born in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Pretty good catcher. He can swing the bat pretty well. Having a down season. They compare him a lot to Lucroy. I mean, his build and the way he handles himself behind home plate. Not a big guy, but very quick on his feet behind there.
Ended up in the United States during his amateur years career and as a player in Miami, and ended up at Tennessee. Played at University of Tennessee for the Volunteers in the SEC. Two and 2 to Gomes. And a called strike 3. The inning ends. Indians are scoring at will tonight. They lead 5-1. Scored in each of the last 3 innings. A 3-run second. They've added single tallies in the last 2 innings. And as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. It comes to us from Amy. He's got Hank the ballpark pup there, does Amy. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #WisDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile.
Like the hat.
I actually had this as second strongest fan photo. This is the one I had as the strongest fan photo.
Are you kidding me? Really?
That's the rally bunny.
You know where that was, don't you? Now, you have to explain yourself a little bit there.
I don't think you do. I think it stands on its own.
You know it's
beautifully.
here. You know the Christmas Story house? It's here in Cleveland. Okay. My wife and I, we went to the Christmas Story house, and that was part of the tour.
You look like a deranged bunny rabbit.
So we're done with the tour. We're done with the tour, right? And the tour guide throws out these bunny suits, and they threw one at me, and I'm saying, I'm not putting that on. You kidding me? My wife, Kate, insisted.
Domingo Santana deep into right center, and that is going to be run down by Chisenhall at the wall for the first out. Go on.
So you guys just put that up there without any explanation, right?
It really speaks for itself.
It doesn't. You've seen the Christmas Story, right?
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Right? 4 times now. Okay. You see Ralphie in the background back there? You see Ralphie, the picture?
Yep, I see Ralphie. And
all right, we can take it down now. Let's get back to the game. You look like a pink nightmare.
You look like a deranged bunny rabbit.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. The Christmas Story, of course, the house was here in Cleveland. Now it's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, good times.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time. No doubt.
Yeah.
Peter Billingsley.
A lot of the movie was shot here in Cleveland, and a lot of it, and I didn't know this, was shot in Toronto.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's an interesting nugget.
Yeah.
I guess you put the bunny outfit on and you get a little more inside information.
Yeah.
I think they withhold the real good stuff.
That's kind of the it's kind of like the password. You put the bunny suit on, they start giving you real good information.
Well, that's good work. It's been a nice little trip to Cleveland for you guys. You went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You get to put a pink bunny suit on.
See, I agreed to allow you guys to show that if we kind of led into it as to why I did that. So, you just pop it up there, and I'm sitting here backpedaling.
Well,
it was fun, though.
It was. It's a great time. I mean, if you're going to go to the museum, you might as well participate in all the activities. It's an iconic moment in film right there.
Yeah, people, sitting under the kitchen, the sink, that cabinet where Randy was underneath there.
There's a walk to Herrera. See, it's already worked.
Now, you tell me that if your wife was not with you and she asked you to put that suit on, you wouldn't do it?
Oh, I'd do it. Oh, I'd do it.
I said no a couple of times, then I got the look.
You're going to take a picture. I mean, it kind of fits right in with the scene in the movie where the mother makes Ralphie go put the suit on.
Exactly. It's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. This time it was your wife, Kate. You're putting that suit on. Go up there right now.
Don't fight it. I'm a good sport. I'll do it.
And then everybody else in the tour group did it, I hear.
They did.
And they had a great time, and they'll have pictures for a lifetime, although probably they won't be shown on television.
Oh, boy.
Well, that'll be good for a few runs anyway. The rally bunny. Anderson might be coming to the end of his pitch limit here. He's at 71. They said they tried to get him 75. They do have activity in their bullpen. Francona doesn't want to push it too much. He's just coming back from an oblique injury. And I would say maybe one more hitter. Got a runner at first. Segura at the plate after the Herrera walk. That's the first base runner, by the way, since Davis's home run in the second. Mostly thanks to rocking a bunny outfit.
I knew that was going to come back to haunt me at some point.
That's what makes you so lovable, Rock. It's the irony of it all. This giant man. It's amazing they even had a bunny suit that big.
And they did, yeah. Fit perfect.
I thought it was one of those pictures where you kind of just put your face in.
No.
You went all in.
That not only that, but the slippers, they fit perfectly too.
Size 13s.
Does it surprise you though that the hat portion was a little bit tight?
There's a swing and a miss. And It's 3-2 on Segura.
I tell you, my kids loved it. Sent the pictures to the kids, and see, they'll have that to remember me by.
It could be, for me, it's probably one of the top 5 cell phone photos I've ever seen in my life.
I actually made the Data Strong fan tonight.
There's a swing and a foul. Segura just getting a piece. Well, when you have an off day in Cleveland, you got to be creative. At the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here. Canton's not too far away. How long did it take you guys to get down to Canton?
Hour.
So an hour to Canton.
Took good care of us down there.
Payoff pitch. Big bouncer. It's going to be a tough play. Lindor's got it. Throws to first, and that gets away from Sands, and Herrera's going to go to third base. So that should be an infield hit. Rally Bunny is alive and well here for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, it'll be an error on Lindor, allowing Herrera to get to third base. Going to give him a hit and an error?
They should. There will be an infield hit and an error. And that's going to be it for Cody Anderson in his first game back from the disabled list. So the pitch count gets him here. And we'll have a pitching change. Be back after this.
Brewer bobblehead by coming to Miller Park this Sunday afternoon as the Brewers battle the Cincinnati Reds. All fans will get an old school bobblehead featuring the Crew's 1970s uniforms, courtesy of Sendik's Food Markets. For tickets, go to brewers.com.
Well, pitching change here. The Brewers get into that bullpen here in the 5th inning. Starter Cody Anderson on a strict pitch limit, and it'll be Kyle Crockett now, with runners at first and third and just one out. Got Logan Schaefer coming up.
Yeah, the only left-hander down in that Indians bullpen. Crockett, 21 appearances so far this year. This is the 4th time that he's been up with the Indians. Back and forth 4 different times. Got called back up on August 3rd.
Big spot for the Brewers. Down 4. Schaefer at the plate. See if they can come up with something here against Crockett. Schaefer lined out his last time up.
I'm sure Cody Anderson liked being taken out with a 4-run lead, 2 outs away from being eligible for a win. They are very strict with that pitch count.
And he was supposed to start tonight on a minor league rehab assignment. Coming back from that injury, they figured, well, we'll just let him start here. And so I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. You get a big league start, Get some run support, though. You know the competitive juices start to flow, and you can sense a win coming if you can get through 5. But he could not. So now it is a bullpen game. Two balls and a strike on Schaefer. 2 on with 1 out. And that one's in the air, right field, going back on a Chisenhall. And he's got it over the shoulder. That's going to be plenty deep to score the run. It'll be 5-2 Cleveland. Sac fly and an RBI for Logan Schaefer.
It just did not barrel it up like he would have liked. He hit it well, but didn't really get it on the sweet spot. That kept it in the ballpark.
Now stepping in for the Brewers, number 2.
So the error by the Indians comes around to score. Brewers to within 3.
And here comes Scooter Gennett. 2 outs, runner at first. Shows bunt, bunts right through it. Scooter in the leadoff spot tonight. He's 0 for 2. And a strikeout his first time up. And that's in there, strike 2. Francona waited until he got the back-to-back lefties to bring on his lefty Crockett. Francona does have activity in his bullpen. I would imagine there would be a move made with Lucroy coming up if Gennett can reach.
Yeah, Craig Counsell realizing that the Indians only have 1 lefty down there, so he doesn't make the move with Perez or Rogers in this situation. Maybe a little bit early in the game. He wants to keep Scooter in there down the road for the right-handers when they come in.
No balls, 2 strikes. Segura certainly a threat to run, even though you're down 3. Only in the 5th inning. Segura with 20 steals this year. Yeah, jam shot. Gennett.
That one almost hit him.
I think it probably would have hit him had he not fouled it off right in on his hands.
I'm not sure he made contact on the bat, but had to be pretty close to the hands. Let's see. Yeah, right above the hands. That's why you see the reaction to Gennett. I think he thought it was going to hit him.
Scooter going without batting gloves. Baby-faced relief pitcher for the Cleveland Indians. This is away. Kyle Crockett. And he slings one outside. So that'll make the count full. That'll give Segura a head start at first base, with Lucroy coming up next. Crockett has been up and down between the Indians and the minor leagues. AAA Columbus 4 times this year. Got called back up on August 3rd. And that's back up the middle, a base hit. Scooter Gennett with a single, a 2-strike single off a lefty.
That's a nice at bat by Gennett. I mean, he doesn't get too many chances against left-handed pitching, but fell behind early. He was 0-2 in the count. And Crockett tried to get him to chase, but Scooter did not. Able to get one down the middle of the plate and get a base hit. Well done.
First and second, the Brewers will bring the tying run to the plate. Terry Francona will make a pitching change here in the 5th. Two on. They got Lucroy coming up. And our Carsoup.com trivia, who holds the record for home runs hit during interleague play. The answer is Jim Thome, the great Cleveland Indian, among others. Got a statue out in front of Progressive Field. 64 career interleague home runs for Jim Thome. Brewers could use a long ball right here. An interleague home run from Jonathan Lucroy would tie this thing up, as Francona goes with Jeff Manship, one of his other long relievers out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he was in the minor leagues just about the entire season. 0-2 in a couple of saves and 199 earned run average. He got called up on June 18th. 19th appearance, pretty good numbers for Manship, and a 157 earned run average. Manship, one of those guys that can go extended innings for the Indians.
Had a 3-inning outing back in June against the Tigers. Oh, this could be the ball game for the Brewers right here. It's only a 3-run game now. Lucroy's up there, Braun to follow. 2 outs in the inning. Lucroy, the hottest hitter among the Brewers, and a couple of home runs last night. Has hit 3 home runs in the last 2 games. And a strike, low slider on the outside corner.
Down and away. Lucroy didn't like it. Yeah, it was the breaking pitches that Lucroy's been hitting out of the ballpark on this road trip. 2 of them yesterday on hanging sliders.
And did he go? He did. Unable to check his swing. Lucroy now in a hole, 1-2. Both of his homers yesterday came on 2-strike pitches. Confident hitter. He's always been a good 2-strike hitter. That simple swing.
Playing it pretty shallow in the outfield, opening up those gaps. Finds that gap out there in left center. 2 runs are going to come in.
Brewers have a run in on a walk and 2 hits in this inning. And Lucroy chases one. Down he goes. A strikeout to end the inning. So Manship comes on, strands a pair. Brewers do get one on a Schaefer sac fly, and it's 5-2 Cleveland. Gave the Brewers a 1-0 lead. That was a home run in the second inning. But then the Indians answered back quickly. Jimmy Nelson, a tough night. 2 RBI double by Jason Kipnis. Another run came in on an error. A 4th run came in on a wild pitch. That was in the 3rd inning. And then the Indians got their 5th run on a 2-out, 2-strike single by Lonnie Chisenhall. Logan Schaefer just plated the 2nd Brewers run with a sac fly. That's where we are, 5-2, bottom of the 5th inning, and Almonte leads off. A base hit into right center field.
Well, this guy can hit. And we came into town yesterday, that first game of the series, and they were raving about Almonte, the kind of hitter he's going to be. Pretty good outfielder and swinging the bat well tonight.
Well, we are on a no-hitter watch tonight in the big leagues. A guy who's done it before, Justin Verlander, has 6 no-hit innings against the Angels tonight in his home park in Detroit. Tigers lead that game 5-0. And Verlander starts his 7th inning of work currently. 6 innings, just 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And no hits for Justin Verlander. No hit the Brewers back in 07 at Comerica Park. So we will keep an eye on that game for you. Angels, Tigers. Angels trying to hang in that race in the wild card race in the American League. Also in the American League West race. The Astros are the leaders of that division right now. Astros beat the Yankees today. Took 2 out of 3 in that series from New York. Jerry Sands with a runner at first. Takes a ball.
Astros aren't going anywhere, are they? Yeah. Everybody keeps waiting for the Astros to come back to earth, but they are not. These guys can hit, they can pitch.
Have the 2nd best record in the American League. Royals have the best record. Astros are now 5 games ahead of the Angels, or rather 5.5 ahead of the Angels. And 5 ahead of the Rangers. Rangers are playing the Blue Jays tonight, and they are tied at 2. Late comeback win for Toronto yesterday, beating Texas.
Astros have hit 172 home runs. That was coming into today's game. They're dead last in batting average, team batting average in the American League, but they lead the league in home runs. Lead the league in earned run average, 3.31, and second in defense. Oh, what a turnaround for them.
They got a home run today from Evan Gattis, who hit 2 homers today and now has 22 for the year, the former Brave. And their 6-2 win over the Yankees, beating Michael Pineda. 2-2 to Sands, and a swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes.
And both strikeouts for Tyler Thornburg have come on the fastball. You've got Gomes looking, and Sands swings right through this one at 92 miles an hour. A couple of years ago, Thornburg was going to get up there at around 96.
Thornburg thought he had torn a ligament in his elbow, and it looked like he might be headed for Tommy John surgery last year. But that was not the case. Tommy John surgery is not always the answer. Good lesson in that. They shut him down for the year. He had a great first half last season. Ended up shutting him down for the rest of the season. He rehabbed the elbow, strengthened the muscles around the ligament, let it heal, and he was able to avoid the surgeon's knife.
And he's back in the big leagues.
One gone, no balls, 2 strikes on Ramirez. The Mets have a chance to add to their lead in their division tonight. They lead the Phillies 4-0. And Washington is trailing San Diego in the 7th inning 6-2. Tyson Ross pitching for the Padres. Older brother of Joe Ross, the Nationals pitcher.
Mets could stretch their lead to 6.5.
How about that? Yeah, the Nationals won 3 in a row. But the Mets keep winning as well. They had exchanged a few words last night in Philadelphia, the Mets and the Phillies, on a quick pitch.
Didn't like it, huh?
Did not like it at all. Larry Boa especially on that Phillies bench as a coach. There goes a runner and a swing, and that is just foul.
Yeah, that might have scored a run had it been fair. Monte running on the pitch. Just missed the third base bag right here. Check it out. About a foot.
Two and two the count. Playing with 1 out here in the 5th inning. 5-2 Indians. A light rain was falling for most of the first few innings of this game. It has stopped since. And a cool, soupy night here in Cleveland. Poncho weather. Two and two, and that one in the air. Center field. Schaefer is back on it. Second out of the inning for Thornburg.
Well, experience baseball like a VIP from one of Miller Park's 5 spectacular all-inclusive areas, and enjoy incredible views and exclusive amenities, complimentary food and beverage, and more. Single game AIA tickets are available now at brewers.com/all-in. AIA.
All-inclusive areas.
Right.
Right? I feel like that describes our booth. An all-inclusive area.
A lot of people, you mean?
Everything's included. Whatever you want. Nice food, drinks, people,
entertainment,
good
view,
bunny suits. Kipnis, a wave and a miss. He was out in front.
You know, they sell those things there at the museum.
How much?
A little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I didn't really see any cause to buy one.
That's they're going after the impulse buy at the Christmas Story Museum.
I was thinking, how often do I actually slip into that?
I think once is probably going to do it.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it kind of loses its luster after the first time.
Yeah, now it becomes slightly disturbing.
Yeah,
if you,
right.
Any time more than one.
You know, one time it's kind of funny.
Maybe Halloween on occasion.
No.
You're going to have to get in costume this year. Your granddaughter's a perfect Halloween age. You're going to have to suit up with her. Don't let her down, Rock. Even if you got to put on a rainbow wig or something, you got to suit up.
I'll be there if she wants me. I don't want to horn in on the parents.
Sure you do. Kipnis didn't think he swung at that pitch. It is 0-2. 2 men are out. Kipnis with a 2 RBI double earlier tonight. He also has struck out twice.
Yeah, Lucroy having a chat back there with Tim Welke. I don't blame him. That's a pretty good pitch that Kipnis just took.
Didn't miss by much.
Missed by a centimeter. Good eye.
One and two on Kipnis. And another check at first base. A lot of throws to first for both teams here tonight.
Well, the Brewers pitchers should throw over. The way the Indians have been running. Keep them close.
Indians have 4 stolen bases today. Lindor has 3 of them. Thornburg is much better at holding runners on. He's quick to the plate as well. If Almonte decides to run, he'll give Lucroy a chance to throw him out. There he goes, and he slips, and he retreats. Had a spin out at first base.
Yeah, that's what they used to do to Ricky Henderson. He comes into County Stadium. Ground crew would just soak that area by first base. Wouldn't work, though.
No.
He'd still steal. Teams used to do that with Kenny Lofton, too.
There he goes again, and that pitch is in the dirt. That'll be another stolen base. The 5th stolen base of the night for the Indians.
And Lucroy hasn't had a chance on any of them.
So now 3-2 is the count with Kipnis at the plate. And a chance to drive in a run here. Brewers just got one in the 5th inning. Indians threatening to answer. On the ground, Lynn's got it. And he'll go to the bag himself to end the inning. So Thornburg has come on. Inning in 2/3. No runs. It's 5-2 Cleveland. Brewers coming up.
Time to check in with the crew and the community. Brewers Community Foundation encourages fans to drop off items or make a donation of $5 to one of their upcoming drives for charity. These items and donations are then distributed to nonprofit organizations in areas where they are desperately needed. Plus, as a thank you, fans who donate will receive a Milwaukee Brewers player collection pin. Upcoming drives for charity include August 28th through the 30th, school supplies, September 18th through the 20th. Hat, scarves, and mittens are also encouraged for donations, guys.
All right, Telly, thanks. Here's Ryan Braun starting the inning for the Brewers on the first pitch. Foul pop, and Gomes just out of his reach. The lower VIP suites down there that are at dugout level.
There's some nice seats down there.
Interesting little twist. You can sit down there field level and get a clear shot into the dugouts. These guys here separated by only that plexiglass. Looking down into the dugout. Got some Brewers fans down there today. Shattered bat. Braun rolls one to short. Lindor makes the play for out number 1. Now Justin Verlander has 7 no-hit innings. He's gotten through the 7th with the no-hitter intact against the Angels in Detroit. Could it be the night? Justin Verlander, it would be his 3rd career no-hitter. 6 outs away from a no-no. Mike Fiers threw a no-hitter last week. That earned him American League Pitcher of the Week. First time Fiers had ever even finished a game as a starter. First ever complete game was a no-hitter.
Yep. What a way to do it.
I'm happy for him. He's been through a lot. Great study and perseverance. Two and two to Lind.
The thing about that Fiers no-hitter, you always knew that he had the kind of stuff that he's always been a guy that's been tough to hit. I mean, with the way he has that unique delivery and the pitches that he has, but you never thought that he would be able to do it because of pitch counts. Always had high pitch counts, and he'd get through 6 or 7 innings, that'd be it. But with a no-hitter, you can't take a guy out. Was it almost 140 pitches?
Yeah, 134 pitches for Fiers. Interesting that Fiers through 7 innings of his no-hit bid, he was up over 100 pitches. And tonight, Justin Verlander is through 7 no-hit innings, 85 pitches for Justin Verlander. Must be a lot of early contact in that game. That's the difference in Verlander from his first no-hitter against the Brewers back in June of '07 when he had the power fastball humming. 97, 98 miles an hour.
A nasty slider for Justin Verlander. One of the best when he's got it going for him.
3-2 pitch. Man shift to Lind. The shift was on. Kipnis is out there, and from the grass, he throws him out. That's why they put the shift on for Adam Lind. 2 up and 2 down for Manship.
Milwaukee center, left fielder Chris Davis.
And now Lindor. This guy has a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah, look at his uniform.
He's fun to watch. He's always got a smile. He's definitely a guy the Indians are counting on. He could be a star in this league.
Yeah, why not? What's he, 21?
21 years of age.
21 years old. He's in the big leagues hitting 300. You can't smile then. Something wrong with you.
So at the plate presented by Wendy's, Davis with a home run tonight. I mean, there are players that just enjoy the game more than others. You can tell. Those guys that come out and always have a smile on their face. I always thought Brandon Phillips was one of those guys, and that's one of the comparisons that Lindor gets. Different position, but he's always energetic, enthusiastic. That is a great trait. That is tough to fake in the major leagues.
Carlos Gomez like that, although Carlos can get under your skin once in a while when you're playing against him. So can Brandon Phillips, for that matter. I guess you're not supposed to have fun playing this game, right?
That's what we need more of in this game.
It upsets the traditionalists.
There's something to be said for the briefcase mentality. It works for some players. Certainly works for some teams, some organizations. I think the Cardinals are that way. They preach that as a philosophy. The Giants, and they've been extremely successful franchises through the years.
And they have players on their team that subscribe to that theory, that mentality. The Yankees are in that group. Doesn't mean to say there's not another way to do it.
3-2 to Davis is popped up. Center fielder Almonte. And that'll be a 3-up, 3-down inning for Jeff Manship.
Head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And there's another student night coming up at Miller Park this Friday at 7 o'clock. The Brewers host the Reds, and high school and college students can purchase $10 Terrace Reserve or $15 Lowe's bleacher tickets, plus enjoy a special $3 pregame menu. For details, visit brewers.com/students.
Everybody getting ready to go back to school for the most part. A lot of college students are back already. And around Milwaukee and around Wisconsin, Tuesday is the day. Returning to school next week. Corey Knebel is on the pitch. Thornburg able to pitch across 2 innings. He goes an inning and 2/3. No runs, 2 hits allowed for Thornburg.
Nice job by Tyler tonight. He's been good since his recall. Corey Knebel, 36th appearance for Knebel, earned run average at 372. And last pitched on Sunday against the Nationals in Washington. The 3rd of an inning, gave up a couple of runs. Allowed a walk and a home run. That home run courtesy of Anthony Rendon on Sunday.
It'll be Lindor to lead off. Trying to keep him off the base pads tonight. He's reached 3 times. 2 walks and an infield hit. Has 3 stolen bases. He's 2 off the Indians record. Kenny Lofton had 5 steals back in 2000. And the Indians as a team tonight with 5 stolen bases. Best defense for the stolen base is to not let them reach base.
Right.
Knebel trying to get things moving here. Thornburg did a good job out of the bullpen. Tough night for Jimmy Nelson as he goes 3 1/3, gives up 5 earned runs.
Yeah, Brewers haven't had a 3 up 3 down inning.
That one's on the ground, right to Segura. And out number 1. First time Lindor has been retired tonight.
Well, there's 5 stolen bases tonight for the Indians, the most against the Brewers since 2007.
Yeah, and that goes on the register of Jonathan Lucroy, but none of the stolen bases could you pin on him tonight.
Yep. Throws were good. The chances that he had. A couple of steals were on pitches in the dirt.
Bouncing ball up the middle. GENNETT rounds it, throws, and not in time. Bradley with an infield hit. His 3rd trip on base. He's 1 for 2 with 2 walks.
He just puts the ball in play consistently, and that's why he's never really going to go into these long slumps. I mean, you put it in play, you give yourself a chance, and even when you don't hit the ball hard like he just did, then we get a base hit. Oh, and he can run too.
Here's Santana with a runner at first. 0 for 3 tonight, but 2 line drives in this game. And that skips away from Lucroy, and Bradley on his way to second. That'll be a wild pitch.
Yeah, Luke's going to need a day off tomorrow.
He sure is.
Well, he has been all over the place trying to catch some of these pitches on this road trip. Pitches in the dirt, well in front of home plate. Pitches high. A lot of guys running. Been a rough week.
So a runner at second base springs the drum into action. 1 gone for Santana. Justin Verlander has just completed 8 no-hit innings. Boy, he is working fast. So he's 3 outs away from a no-hitter tonight. We will bring you images of that if it gets close. Justin Verlander of the Tigers no-hitting the Angels in Detroit tonight. Making a bid at his 3rd career no-hitter. Santana pops it a mile high. Way up there. GENNETT and Lind, and it's going to be Lind who makes the catch. That'll be out number 2.
You can't hit a pop-up much higher than that. Scooter thinking he's going to catch it, but Lind able to grab it right in front of Scooter GENNETT.
See GENNETT's reaction. Whoa!
I don't even think Lind knew he was there.
One of the advantages of being much shorter than Adam Lind. I don't think either one of them called it. Lind just happened to be taller, and it ends up in his glove. So 2-minute out. Here is Chisenhall, who has 2 hits and an RBI tonight.
This is a guy you might want to think about pitching around here. Been a hot hitter. He's got 2 hits tonight. Had a good month of August.
Indians lead 5-2. Knebel trying to keep it that way. And Chisenhall, he was late. Fouls it away. Fastball at 94. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Lonnie Chisenhall. Thought he was going to be a mainstay here in Cleveland. Had to make a trip back to the minor leagues this season.
Well, last time up, took a Thornburg curveball that was up in the strike zone and hit it hard into right for an RBI. Throw the curveball here, get it in the dirt.
And that one's right down the middle with a fastball. He was looking for the curveball too. Down he goes. Knebel puts up a 0 in the 6th. We go to the 7th. 5-2. Get the Brewers back on track offensively, down 5-2. Say Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education and healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Wednesday night in Cleveland, the Brewers are down 5-2, in danger of dropping these 2 games here, losing 3 out of 4 to the Indians. Need a comeback. And Terry Francona is going to go with Zach McAllister here for the 7th.
And McAllister making appearance number 49. You can see pretty good numbers from McAllister. He made a start this year. A 3.18 earned run average. He was a loser against the Cubs a couple of days ago. That was on Monday. And that Chris Bryant 2-out home run in the bottom of the 9th.
Indians had to go to Chicago for a 1-game makeup on Monday. Domingo Santana takes a ball low, make it 1-1 to Santana. Santana getting to start tonight once again, getting back into his more comfortable spot of right field. He's 0 for 2, a strikeout and a fly ball out. Brewers got a run on a Davis homer in the 2nd and a Schaefer sac fly in the 5th. McAllister missing badly. He's throwing hard, but last 2 have not been close. Three and 2 it goes. Just 23 years of age, Domingo Santana. And he'll be looking forward to getting to Miller Park. That'll be his Miller Park debut on Friday. There's ball 4. Good take. And Santana is aboard with a leadoff walk.
And McCows can rush it up there pretty good. 95, 96 with the fastball. He's got a slider to go with it. It was a slider that Kris Bryant hit out of the ballpark. First pitch to him. That game was on TV in the hotel here on Monday night, or Monday afternoon.
That made that trip for the Indians a 4-city road trip.
Right.
Minnesota, New York, Boston, and Chicago. I'm thinking the Indians might be a little beat up in this series as Herrera lines one to center. So a base hit for ELIAN HERRERA. And just like that, the Brewers put 2 on, nobody out, and they'll bring the tying run to the plate.
He just figures the way to get the job done, doesn't he? I mean, ELIAN HERRERA, a walk, scored a run, he's got a base hit, and lines the first pitch from McAllister into center field. So the Brewers get the tying run to home plate here in the 6th, or the 7th.
Jean Segura will represent that tying run. Reached on an infield hit his last time up. He bounced one right off the plate. Well, McAllister has had a tough time outside. Missing badly. It's part of his MO when he's right. He's dangerous when he's good because he can throw it up there with that high velocity and that comeback sinker on the outside part of the plate to a right-handed hitter. Makes him almost impossible to hit.
Yeah.
That one had some heat on it.
Yeah, very similar to what Jeremy Jeffress does out there. Big velocity, good movement. McAllister right now having a difficult time locating his pitches where he wants them. Speaking of Jeremy.
And Jeffress getting loose. Looks like he'll have the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 on, nobody out. Right down the heart. 1 and 2. Segura got caught guessing. A couple of statistics that work in the Brewers' favor on McAllister. With men on base, opponent batting average is .280. And with runners in scoring position, opponents are hitting .288 against McAllister. Those are extremely high numbers.
I'm probably relying too much on the fastball when he gets in trouble. He really hadn't thrown a breaking pitch yet. Maybe because the one he hung to Kris Bryant a couple of days ago. Gotta keep him honest. Even if you don't throw it for a strike, you got to flip it up there once in a while.
One and 2. Segura at the plate. And again, missing outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes a 2-2. Segura spoils it foul. He was late. Able to foul off that big fastball. That's his best bullet of the night at 97 miles an hour.
Well, the more you see him, the better chance you have of dialing in on one and getting the bat head out. One after the other fastballs, all at 96 miles an hour. That last one though at 97.
Two on. Santana at second, Herrera at first, and a strikeout. Segura cuts right through a fastball. You could see him asking the home plate umpire if that was a strike on his way out.
Might have been a little high, but you got to protect the play. It looked like a strike. Had the corner, and I don't think it was high either.
First out for McAllister. It's a strikeout. Still first and second. Here's Logan Schaefer. Well, Schaefer has a line drive out tonight and a sacrifice fly that came back in the 5th inning. Deep fly ball to center. Brewers are down 3, 5-2. We play in the 7th inning. Trying to fight their way back. Scored a run in the 5th, had 2 on. Actually had the tying run to the plate in Lucroy in that 5th inning. And they have done so here. Thornburg and Knebel have settled things down on the mound as Schaefer in the air to right. Over is Chisenhall. And in foul territory makes a catch. Santana will tag and make it to 3rd. It's good play over there by Chisenhall, fighting with that rail and still able to pull it in for the 2nd out of the inning.
Man, missed the cutoff man over the head of the cutoff over there, and Herrera probably should have been at second base. He tagged up too. Didn't have a lot of room over there, but right in front of that railing, actually in the seats, he's able to pull it back. Misses the cutoff man, and you see Segura, I should say Herrera. Maybe not. I mean, a lot on the throw. Probably would have been a big chance to try to get into second base.
And especially down 3. So still 1st and 3rd. Here is GENNETT. We're keeping an eye on Justin Verlander and his no-hit bid against the Angels in Detroit tonight. He's in the 9th inning. Just starting his 9th inning. 103 pitches for Verlander. Scooter had a hit his last time up. Had a beautiful at-bat against a left-handed pitcher. And Crockett got ahead of him, 2 strikes, and GENNETT was able to get the count full, and then he singled back up the middle. Brewers need a big hit from somebody. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs now, and a swing and a foul.
He was right on it. Nothing but fastballs from McAllister. Very surprising. Of course, I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Well, the no-hitter just ended, Rock. Chris Iannetta had a double against Justin Verlander. And so he comes 3 outs away from a no-hitter.
Another near miss, right?
Yeah, we've had a few of those this year.
Been a lot.
Oh, and 2 to GENNETT. Inside.
That's that pitch you're talking about. That comeback 2-seam fastball just missed the edge. Can't give up on it.
Two on, 2 out. McAllister deals, and GENNETT spoils another one. He's hanging tough. You figure one good breaking ball might do it for GENNETT, but the risk in that is you got the wild pitch factor, which would bring in a run and put another run in scoring position.
Or you hang it.
Or you hang it and it gets hit out of the ballpark. And GENNETT certainly has the pop. He's not a big guy, but he's got some punch. And a home run off Jordan Zimmerman on Sunday in D.C. There goes Herrera. GENNETT fouls another one off.
Not one breaking pitch in this entire inning. It's got to go back to a couple of days ago in Chicago. First pitch slider to Chris Bryant, knocked it out of the ballpark. He hadn't thrown one since.
Pure gas from Zach McAllister. Do it again. Another 2-strike pitch. Santana started the inning with a walk. Herrera singled. 1st and 3rd, 2 away. GENNETT fouls this one out of play. That'll be in the seats. Long battle here with GENNETT and McAllister. There goes Herrera and a swing and a miss. GENNETT chase ball 2. Couldn't handle that high fastball. Inning is over. Brewers strand 2.
By 3, heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. And let's take a look at our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Cincinnati Reds coming in after an off day tomorrow. And Iglesias against Taylor Youngman. Youngman can use a bounce back start. Got roughed up against the Nationals. Only lasted 4 innings his last time out. Overall, very good numbers though for Youngman. A 7-5 record, a 2.66 ERA.
Friday we're back on the air after an off day tomorrow. Yep, there she is. It's good to see the moon. Been a couple of days.
Yeah.
Well, the moon's been there. We just haven't been able to see it.
Too many clouds.
All right, here we go to the bottom of the 7th, and it's still 5-2. Brewers have had a few chances. Had a shot in the 5th with Lucroy up, representing the tying run, and just had GENNETT up there representing the tying run, and a couple of key strikeouts for Cleveland relievers in this one. Yan Gomes leads off for the Tribe. 0 for 3 tonight. He has a strikeout. Struck out looking in the 4th. That was Thornburg who struck him out. Jimmy Nelson, Tyler Thornburg, and now Corey Knebel out for his 2nd inning. Thornburg went an inning and 2/3. Nelson 3 1/3. Gave up all 5 of the runs. As Gomes in the hole, deep in the hole. Segura winds it up, and a pick by Lynn. Beautifully done. Well, Segura's throw was a little short, but Lynn picked him up. And a nice play and a 6-3 put out for out number 1.
A tough hop to handle. Wasn't that short hop or that long hop. It was more or less an in-between hop. Tried to put something on it. Came up short, but nice job by Lynn, able to scoop it and keep his foot on the bag for the out. Nothing to it, he's saying. No big deal.
And 1 away for Abraham Almonte, who has 2 hits and a walk tonight. Has 2 stolen bases as well. Guy looks like a good player, good young player. They got him from the Padres. And the trade of Michael Bourne. Indians traded Bourne and Swisher to the Atlanta Braves. That opened up some playing time for Almonte. He ultimately gets the center field job after that move. Lucroy has taken a beating tonight.
More of a beating than usual. Tim Welke giving him some extra time. Not the toe he broke, it was the left toe that broke.
Yeah, that one, he has that extra extension on those shin guards that go down and come over the toes, and he's fortunate. That probably saved him another broken toe.
Look at that dirt all over him tonight.
Gonna take some serious Windex to get the shin guards clean.
They'll be shining on Friday, though. Tools of the trade.
One ball, two strikes. And Almonte takes a ball inside. 2-2 now. Now, Verlander did go on to finish that game, by the way. Pitched a shutout tonight. A one-hit shutout against the Angels. The Angels have fallen on hard times. The two Los Angeles teams, the Angels and the Dodgers, are struggling right now. Dodgers still have a 2.5 game lead over the Giants. There's a ground ball to GENNETT, and that'll be out number 2 for Knebel. The Angels right now are in 3rd place in their division, trailing the Astros and the Rangers. Toronto has opened up a 6-2 lead over Texas in Arlington. And we told you the Astros won earlier today. Pittsburgh beat the Marlins tonight 7-2. Jeff Locke got the win in that game. So the Pirates keep playing at a very high level. Pittsburgh open play today 4.5 back of the Cardinals. It's so difficult to believe that they are that far back, and yet they are 76-49.
Yeah. The Cubs, they've won 6 straight, still in 3rd place.
Cubs have won 20 of 24. And Chicago will be in San Francisco tonight.
Cubs would be in 1st place in 4 different divisions.
And they've opened up a huge lead over the Giants. For that 2nd wild card spot, Cubs are still hoping they can make a run at the top wild card spot. That gets you the home game. I think a Wrigley Field game would actually make a big difference in a 1-game wild card playoff. Indians had a home game back in 2013 against the Rays, and the Rays had played a tiebreaker game 2 days prior to that, or a day prior to that, and Tampa Bay went on to win that game and advance into the division series. That was the 2nd year of the 2 wild card teams. So home field doesn't always mean much. Actually, sometimes it can mean a little more pressure on the home team. I think, though, for the Cubs at Wrigley Field, because it is such a unique venue, that would be a very interesting matchup. Although if it's the Pirates,
they've been there before.
That's the team that that's been there the most. You know, I mean, the same division.
Not a big deal to the Pirates. Maybe somebody else.
Little tapper, going to be a tough play. Knebel throws and safe. Jerry Sands with an infield hit. A swinging bunt
right off the end of the bat. First hit of the night for Sands. He's been on 3 times. He's walked twice. Good effort by Corey Knebel to make it close. And the Brewers still looking for their first 3-up, 3-down inning.
All right, so 2 away with a man on now, and Jose Ramirez coming up. By the way, the Cardinals are in Arizona tonight. St. Louis trails 1-0. Cardinals have won 3 in a row. First team to 80 wins in the big leagues. It's been a while since we had a team win 100 games. 4 years, as a matter of fact. Cardinals certainly have a chance to do that. Paul Goldschmidt is homered for the Diamondbacks. A 470-foot home run.
Some kind of year he's having.
Man. MVP caliber season. He and Bryce Harper.
Yep. I think Anthony Rizzo's got to be sneaking his way into that discussion. I think Goldschmidt's got the home runs. I should say the RBIs. He's close to 100 already.
Yeah, Andrew McCutchen is in the discussion as well, I think. He's having another great year. He had 2 more hits tonight and 4 runs batted in. Did McCutchen in that win over the Marlins. He hit his 20th homer tonight. So McCutchen's hitting 300, 20 home runs, and has 85 runs batted in.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Year in, year out. McCutchen delivers. But I still think at this moment it's a 2-horse race. Bryce Harper and Paul Goldschmidt. Then you start to talk about contending teams. Harper and McCutchen are playing for contending teams. And what difference that makes. That really is why Braun won the MVP over Matt Kemp in 2011.
Yeah.
Dodgers did not contend that year.
And it's a legitimate argument.
There's a lot more pressure-packed at-bats in a pennant race than without one. And when you're the leader of a team like Braun was in 2011, he and Fielder, puts a lot of pressure on those at-bats and those key pennant chasing opportunities.
Yeah, we talked about Goldschmidt with the home runs and RBIs. He's second in the league in hitting. Hitting .330.
Now Goldschmidt with 25 homers now, 94 runs batted in. In the air to right field, on a line, but right to Santana. That will retire the side. So Knebel works a scoreless inning. A couple of scoreless innings, as a matter of fact. Scored the second run. Indians scored 5 runs in the first 4 innings. All those runs off Jimmy Nelson. The bullpen has come down. They've settled it down, giving the Brewers a chance tonight. Francona's going to tighten up his defense. Giovanni Urshela will come into play third. And here's Brian Shaw pitching in consecutive games. Back out on the mound for the Tribe as we go to the 8th.
Yeah, he got the last 2 outs in the 8th inning in last night's game. Yeah, Shaw in game number 56 so far this year for Cleveland, a .253 earned run average. He's actually got a couple of saves, 2 out of 4 in save opportunities for the sinker slider Brian Shaw.
In the top of the 8th inning, changes for the Indians. Now playing third base is number 39, Giovanni Urshela.
Lucroy will lead the way for the Crew here in the 8th inning. Lucroy, Braun, and Lind coming up. And the big bats are up here in the 8th. Trying to fight their way back. They're in a split of this series. Lucroy, who hit 2 homers last night, he is 0 for 3 tonight. The big at bat came in the 5th inning. He struck out with 2 on. He represented the tying run in that frame. Down the right field line, hit well. That is going to be a fair ball. All the way into the corner it goes. Throw comes in from Chisenhall, and Lucroy is just safe. That's going to be close, and the Indians want to take a look at this one, I think. Boy, what an arm out there by Lonnie Chisenhall, right on the bag.
Yeah, that was about as good a throw as you can make. He played it perfectly. The carom off the fence. And threw a strike into Lindor, who thought he got the out. A good piece of hitting by Lucroy. He continues to swing the bat well. His first hit tonight. A couple of caroms off the wall. Look at this throw. Right on the money on a hop. Looks like Terry Francona wants to go to the review.
Kind of an awkward slide for Lucroy. I don't know. I think he got the foot in there. Now the question was, did the foot come off?
Right. I mean, did he lose contact with a bag as Lindor kept the tag on him? Clearly safe there. Now check out the foot. Does it come off the bag? Well, I'll tell you, that's the foot did come up. Was the leg still on the bag as Lindor held the tag on Lucroy?
So the crew chief, Tim Welke, over there with the calling umpire, Mike Everett. And we are in a challenge by the Indians here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, this is splitting hairs if they decide that Lucroy lost touch with the bag as he slid and hit the base. I can't imagine them overturning this. This is not why this rule is put in place. Right. I mean, it's very difficult to remain in contact with a bag unless you kind of almost stop before you hit the bag. Let's see, the foot gets in there. That's not the issue. He knows he's safe here. Now, is there contact? Does he lose touch with the bag? It looks like he might have.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to call. It's a tough one to overturn.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I mean, if they look at it and that's what they're looking at, did he pop off the bag? And what do you do with that? I mean, that's
I mean, it goes back to that was a very awkward slide by Lucroy. First of all, he could have been injured on that play. Wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do there, how he wanted to slide. Normally these bang bang plays that go like this are not overturned, but we'll see. Tim Welke's telling the pitcher, you can continue to throw if you like.
Yeah, looking in New York, I mean, does Lucroy's jersey at all keep touch with the bag, or any part of Lucroy is in touch with the bag as that foot comes off? That's what we're looking at. You can't blame Terry Francona.
In the spirit of the rule, the flow of the game, these are the ones that I think, when we talk about putting a time limit on, this is where they apply. We got a call coming here, and safe is the call, so not enough evidence there to overturn it.
That's the way it should be. I mean, that had to be a tough call to overturn and call Lucroy out.
The call stands is the official language from the replay center in New York. So Lucroy with a double, his first hit of the night. 2 minutes 53 seconds on the challenge. I'm all for the Bill Schroeder 90-second rule. If you don't know in 90 seconds, then it is as called on the field.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in.
Oh, I know you're in. You're the author of the rule.
Next we tell the umps.
I'm sure they'd love it. Ryan Braun at the plate. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Braun had a home run last night, an opposite field home run. Had 2 hits. He drove in a pair. And a swing and a foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Shaw left that one up in the zone, and Braun just a little bit out in front. That's not where Shaw wanted to leave that last pitch.
And a 1-2, and Braun fouls it away. Up the ladder that time. That was where Braun's home run was last night. Pitch was up. Josh Tomlin delivered one high in the zone, and Braun just went up and got it. Stroked it into right field. There was a little breeze blowing out towards right center last night. Not much wind at all here tonight.
You know, when he hits him, he doesn't need the wind.
And that little cutter misses. Shaw's been a good setup man this year for Terry Francona. And Braun into right center field. That is down, a base hit. Lucroy had to hold up, so he only ends up at third base. Right off the end of the bat, Ryan Braun serves one into right center for a base hit, and again the Brewers will bring the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, stayed back just long enough on that breaking pitch. Not a bad pitch by Brian Shaw. Check it out. You know, down and away, and that's a wheelhouse for Ryan Braun. He likes it out there, and just dumps it out there in the center field. Almonte came pretty close. Came up a little bit short. So once again, the Brewers bring the tying run to the plate.
So Chisenhall backing up there smartly. Keeps a run from scoring and keeps Braun away from scoring position. Now Adam Lind is up there.
The tying run comes to the plate again, this time with the power hitters coming up.
You got Lind up, Davis on deck. Santana to follow. First and third, nobody out. And Lind takes a ball high. Big swing by Lind. He took a shot at it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Shaw deals a 1-1 and a called strike. Wow.
Yeah, look how far off the outside corner that was. Boy. Can't hit that one with a bow door.
One and two the count. Back out there, and Lynn strikes out.
Stepping to the plate.
And Lynn in the midst of one of those stretches where he's having a difficult time at the plate. And chases a pitch out of the strike zone after a pitch that was off the outside corner, called a strike.
So one away, still runners at first and third. Brewers have had 3 strikeouts. Well, they make it 4 strikeouts tonight with 2 runners on in this game. Those are big when you want to put the ball in play, get some runs on the board. Davis looking for another multi-homer game back in the second. With the rain falling, Davis did not miss this Cody Anderson offering. Shining moment of the game to this point, brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. Home run number 17 for Davis. He's had 4 multi-homer games this year, 3 of them in the month of August. And he took a swing at one himself. A big hack on that cutter from Shaw.
And the thing is, when he hits him out, he doesn't take swings like that. They're nice and easy. He's trying to muscle up, trying to tire up.
Here's a 1-1. 1-2 it goes. Ryan Shaw throws the true cut fastball. Certainly not as good as Mariano Rivera's, who had the best ever, but it has that sliding action away from a right-handed batter. It's all about how the ball comes off his finger.
Finger pressure.
He doesn't spin it in the wrist. He just literally rolls it off the finger. And there's a called strike 3. That's his pitch. Back-to-back strikeouts with 2 men on. Now 2 are out, and the 2 big power hitters are rung up.
And this was a backdoor job. It didn't really break too much. It ended up on the inside corner, and Tim Welke rings it up.
So 2 outs. And here is Domingo Santana. Big power to the opposite field, Santana. Shaw really doesn't do much other than throw the cutter. He's got a fastball, and he'll use that one every now and then. But that's his pitch. There was a slider that's going to advance Braun to second base. Good base running there by Braun, and now a base hit could score a couple. That'll be a wild pitch.
Well, in the meantime, Santana's got the count in his favor, 2-0.
That's a pitch that Shaw actually spins with his wrist. He actually turns it over. It's slower, has a bigger break.
And more downward movement on it. The cutter pretty much goes straight across. Not a whole lot of downward break to it.
So a base hit. The Brewers could score a couple. And that one misses outside. Ball 3. Well, you wonder if Santana has the green light. Brewers are 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. Tying run at the plate. Does he swing? He takes right down the middle.
Whoa, big hack. Had one up right down the middle.
Cut right through it. He was late on that one. Fouls it away.
Really no shortening up for Domingo Santana, is it?
With that big, powerful swing.
Yes, he does.
Second and third. 2 men out, 8th inning. Might be the last shot for the Brewers. You never know. They've had their chances tonight. And a swing and a miss. Shaw strikes out Lynn, Davis, and Santana, and the Brewers come up empty in the 8th inning. Still 5-2 Cleveland. Brewers Live postgame with Jamie and Davey. After this one, Will Smith is on to pitch the Cleveland half of the 8th inning. Brewers for the 3rd time had the tying run up in an inning and could not do anything with it. 3 straight strikeouts with 2 on. They remain down 5-2. Smith will have the 8th. Kipnis will lead off.
Yeah, pitched in last night's ball game and pitched an inning, gave up a couple of runs on a 2-run homer by Michael Brantley. 60th appearance for Will and a 245 earned run average. Has been much better against right-handed hitters this year than lefties. Brewers have certainly had their opportunities as this game is going on tonight.
The thing that's a little disheartening is the strikeouts in those spots. It's tough to do anything with strikeouts as Kipnis waves and misses. Starting with that strikeout to Lucroy in the 5th inning as he represented the tying run. So that's 6 strikeouts with 2 men on base in each of those 3 innings.
First and second, nobody out. I should say first and third, nobody out. Just couldn't get it done. Had their chances. And they had the guys up that they wanted up, the middle of the order.
And a swing and a miss. 2-2 on Kipnis. Kipnis came in batting .324. And he's 1 for 4 tonight. Drove in 2 with a double in the second. That was a key hit in this game. Came with 2 outs in that second inning. And that ball is ripped into right field. Santana looks up. It's gone. Jason Kipnis with a home run. 2 more hits tonight for him. And it is 6-2 Cleveland.
And 2 home runs allowed by Will Smith in the last 2 days, both coming against lefties. Interesting. You know, look at the splits for Smith. Left-handers have been hitting him much better than right-handers. You know, a home run to Brantley on a breaking pitch. This is a fastball to Kipnis that he rides out of the ballpark.
Well, here is Lindor. Very unusual starting place for Lindor with his hands. It's like he's holding an umbrella at the plate. He's trying to get relaxed and calm and take a lot of tension out of those hands as he fouls a curveball.
But his first move is to bring his hands up a little bit and back. Remember Eric Davis?
Yeah.
The way he used to hold his hands right at the belt. But when that pitch, when he was getting ready for his setup, he'd bring them up and bring the bat back.
And he pulls that one through the hole, a base hit. Boy, he's been impressive in this series. He leads all American League rookies in batting average, and he has 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 3 with 2 walks. His 4th time on base. He has stolen 3 bags tonight, and you can bet he's going to be on the move here.
Yeah, he might try it again. That was not a bad pitch by Smith. It was a breaking ball away. And Lindor wait back and maybe to punch it into left field. And this Indians club here at home lately have been swinging the bats pretty well.
Indians record for stolen bases in a game held by Kenny Lofton. He had 5 back in 2000. It would take a steal of 2nd and 3rd for Lindor to match that mark. The 21-year-old shortstop.
A little bit more difficult for him with the left-hander out there in the mound. Can't get it nearly as good a jump. But don't put it past them. They have a 4-run lead. Had a big lead at all.
On the ground, Herrera's got it to second for 1, and the turn is in time. A double play. Smith needed that one. Nicely turned. GENNETT hung in there, and a 5-4-3 double play off the bat of Michael Brantley.
ELIAN Herrera shaded around toward the hole with a left-hander up, and it paid off. He took a tricky hop and was able to turn the double play.
Very impressed with ELIAN Herrera. Went down to the minor leagues. He swung the bat well, earned a shot back in the major leagues. They had to add him to the major league roster after they'd taken him off. He's played well. He's been one of the more consistent Brewers.
That's why he's getting the playing time.
Switch hitter Santana, and that's going to get through for a base hit. Third hit of the inning.
Eleven hits tonight, 13 hits last night.
Number 8, Lonnie Chisenhall.
And here is Lonnie Chisenhall. A lot of folks felt like the Indians were going to make a run at a division title this year, at least a playoff run this season. They were the popular pick. Kansas City's running away with the Central in the American League right now. They have a 13-game lead over the Twins. And the Royals have won 4 in a row. Kansas City has the best record in the American League. The two Missouri teams sporting the best record. Royals are down tonight, however, trailing Baltimore 7-5. Much more important game for the Orioles than it is the Royals. There's a lot of teams stacked up for the wild card race in the American League. That's going to be a furious finish to the end, you would think. And Baltimore's still not all the way out of the division picture as Smith picks up a strikeout to end the inning, but a run is in on a Jason Kipnis homer. 6-2, last call for the Brewers coming up.
And Tribe fans.
The Brewers are down 4 and winning just the first game of this road trip. In danger of dropping 4 in a row as Cody Allen is on. It's a 4-run lead, not a save situation for Allen, but he is 26 out of 29 in that category for the Indians. Saw him last night.
Yeah, same thing happened last night. He was getting loose. They're expecting to win for a save. The I should say the Indians scored some runs, not a save situation. So, rule of thumb, you get your closer warmed up, you bring him in. 55th appearance, and he's been very good. 26 out of 29 with a pretty good earned run average. 80 punch-outs in 52 2/3 innings.
Well, last night it was Brantley who hit a 2-run homer to take him out of a save chance. Tonight it is Jason Kipnis. It'll be Herrera to lead off. Bottom of the Brewers order: Herrera, Segura, Schaefer. Well, the Brewers returning home tonight after a marathon game in Cleveland. A day off tomorrow, and then starting up a homestand with the Reds and the Pirates. And for a lot of students last weekend, a lot of students and teachers and administrators last weekend before school begins, we wish all of those involved in back to school, whether you're a student or a teacher, an administrator. And we always tip our hat to the great teachers doing heroes work each and every year with very little fanfare. Hope you have a great year. Herrera slices one left center. That's well hit. And off the wall it goes. Herrera around second. And he'll stop there with a double. So ELIAN Herrera on base for the third time tonight. His second hit to go along with a walk.
Surprising power, doesn't he? And just drops the head of the bat on it and just rockets out there into left center. Nice easy stroke. Almonte came close. Yeah, but down by 4 runs, I don't think Herrera wanted a chance going to third base. He holds up at second.
He's not an everyday player, but on a contending team and a role player, this guy he can do a lot of things for you. He can even play in the outfield if you need him. He's a switch hitter.
He's been playing every day lately.
He sure has for the Brewers. And he keeps earning himself into that lineup. Here's Segura now.
And once again, the Brewers with a man in scoring position. Now the Brewers right now 1 for 8, and that one hit did not score a run. That was that base hit by Braun last inning.
Yeah, Lucroy had to hold up just to make sure it was going to fall and was unable to score on that play. Segura a chance to drive in a run here. 9th inning. Brewers down 4. An emergency swing fouls it into the seats. Well, the Indians have not been a good home team. They have the worst home record in baseball. But they are on the step of a 2-game sweep of the Brewers and 3 out of 4 from Milwaukee this year in this interleague matchup.
Well, they've been much better at home lately. They're scoring a lot of runs. Their pitching's been pretty good. And they've looked really good in this series. That offense in high gear last couple of nights.
They are 5.5 back of the Rangers and the Yankees. Both of those teams lost, so they could go to 4.5 back in the wild card race tonight. The problem is there are 5 teams ahead of them. Actually 6 teams ahead of them, which the number doesn't scare you.
Right.
4.5 back, you're feeling like you're kind of in it, but all of those teams ahead of Terry Francona's Indians makes it almost impossible.
And at 4.5 becomes 10 when you have that many teams leapfrog.
Because not all of those teams are going to hit the skids. Minnesota won again tonight, by the way. They've won 6 straight. Segura, right field. Chisenhall is there to make the catch. And the first out of the inning. Segura hit it hard. nothing to show for it. Herrera has to stay put. One gone in the ninth.
Had him played perfectly, shallow and toward the line.
The center fielder, Logan Schaefer.
Indians have actually played better baseball since they traded Moss and Michael Bourne and Nick Swisher away. It's opened up some playing time for a few guys that give them a lot of hope.
Yep, young, hungry players trying to make their mark.
Their shortstop and their center fielder specifically. All right, here's Schaefer, the 9-hole hitter. And a strike from Allen. Brewers won the opening game of this road trip, beat the Nationals. And a big offensive game against Washington on Friday and have not won since. That's strike 2 on Schaefer, 0-2 the count. Schaefer has an RBI tonight, one of the 2 ribbies for the Brewers, along with Chris Davis, who homered in the second. Schaefer had a sacrifice fly. No balls, 2 strikes. And a called strike 3. Backdoor breaking ball is in there. 2 outs in the inning. First strikeout for Allen.
Yep, right on the outside corner. And Tim Welke taking a good look at it, rings it up.
It's a good pitch. Brewers down to their last out. Top of the order. Here is GENNETT. He was 1 for 4 today. And a little curveball in there for a strike on GENNETT. Don't forget, Brewers Live coming up. Jamie Hirsch, Davey Nelson from our Fox Sports Wisconsin studios. And then the Brewers back in action here on Fox Sports Wisconsin Friday night against the Reds. Little fly ball to left. This should do it. Bradley is there, and the Indians win again. They take the 2-game series, win 3 out of 4 from the Brewers this season. A 6-2 final in Cleveland tonight. 3 hours and 39 minutes. Brewers Live coming your way. Let's check in with Jamie Hirsch. She's in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio. Jamie, take it away.